They did win their last match, as you obviously saw if you were watching, against Graviton Surge. And I think Creation, though, are even more confident. I think I don't think they consider that they can lose this grand finals.
No reason not to be confident after that last
take my ham?
here. He just took your ham. You're not going to eat it, Jason.
Son of a bitch.
He's not going to.
I was saving it for later.
Right.
I need it to be kosher before I eat it.
Here's the bracket, ladies and gentlemen, and the only one that really matters is that grand final one. Of course, Creation coming to this with a one-map advantage coming through from the upper bracket, but you can see how we got here. They've already beaten Rogue once before, of course, in the upper bracket final. It was a 3-1 score, and Rogue were in utter disarray. I think that's fair enough to say, Jason?
Yeah. I think Rogue kind of looked like they were really crumbling throughout not only that game, but also Graviton Surge. They were really struggling to figure out like what's going wrong. And James and I were trying to talk about before, but we'll talk about in a little bit of time about what the hell was going on within their team, because that's not the Rogue that we came here for, or they came here to see. That's the Rogue that we came here to see is the team that will stomp everyone.
Well, I mean, I think we all knew that the Creation were going to be in the grand finals and still going to probably be the favorites. Right. And Rogue, depending on how they performed as a team, could be a team that definitely, could just 3-0 pretty much anyone here. But really, so far with Rogue Esports, the biggest problem they've kind of had is not everyone's playing stable. I actually think that, unfortunately, their McCree, IDDQD, is having a hard time versus the other McCrees. And a lot of times, Creation play 2 McCrees. So what's really happening is that player isn't kind of helping win the payload fights, right. And then you just lose that momentum over and over. And also, they've been playing weird stuff, like Roadhog on Route 66 defense. And whose idea is that? It's Typic. So they've been second-guessing themselves. They've had one player that isn't, performing maybe all the time up to his standard, but we'll see. And they do have problem versus the double McCree, and rightfully so. RTO plays an absolutely amazing McCree. Bromas is really, on point as well for the team of Creation Esports. Mm-hmm. And I've got to say, with Rogue sometimes second-guessing themselves, that's going to make Nox feel really confident for Creation Esports because, he is the captain. He's the one that does all the drafts. And so far, Creation haven't had to change anything to win. It's Rogue Esports that potentially are looking to change or at least calm their nerves or at least play something, more similar to Creation. And I think they should, because they've been going all these little cute picks. I just think they need to come out there with strong picks and make sure that their McCree IDDQD gets a little bit more aggressive and get some kills.
So, sorry, I'll just quickly interject. In terms of the map picks here as well, it's only one, from what I can see, only one King of the Hill map. So it's all the payload maps are in here: Hollywood, Dorado, Gibraltar, Kings Road, Numbani, and Route 66.
I just wanted to point out one thing about Linkster as well. I mean, you pointed out Bromas. He had a fantastic series against him, but Linkster as well was just going off. He was playing probably some of the best Overwatch of his life, and if they can continue, I think that kind of high that they have coming into this grand final, then they could definitely be unstoppable.
Yeah, and the great thing about having Linkster who can play amazing on the Widow is you actually have to put somebody to take him out, and that actually just makes the McCrees even stronger for the team of Creation, because you now have that monkey, or you can't do the double McCree yourself. So you might have to challenge the double McCree, or you might have to take away Linkster and hope that your payload team of Rogue Esports can actually play against, or even just the one strong McCree of RTR. But so far we've seen kind of Typic play a really strong McCree, but he's also been on Soldier a few times. And if anyone's tuned in for the grand finals, if you don't know, these gentlemen sat down from right to left. You've got Unko in the blue top. He's a Mercy player. Next to him is Reinforce playing the Reinhardt. In the middle is AKM. He's going to be playing the sniper, and also a lot of Winston today. He's been really good on Winston, actually. To his right, our left, is going to be Tavik, star player. Absolutely just destroyed a game on Hanzo earlier to get him into the grand finals. This guy, if he can play some more Hanzo, I'd be very happy to watch that. And IDDQD at the end. Hopefully this guy just needs to get his right clicks going. He's a lot of left click on his McCree, but get that right click going, and all the way at the back, because he doesn't like any of his team. Is pretty much Wins.
And I want to point out as well, Wins is playing with his feet on the ground today. Yeah.
Feet on the ground. And that guy's got a lot of championships in various FPS games. So he's really meant to be the one that's going to calm the team, get them playing well if anything goes wrong. And because he's 28 years of age, he's played multiple FPS games professionally, from Quake to Unreal Tournament to Shoot Mania. Absolutely a stellar player to have on your team. And on the other side, for Creation Esports, this is Numlocked, going to be playing the tank. Originally played Team Fortress 2 with one of his teammates, Nox, sat at the back. So far, yeah, playing a tank, being backed up by some of his teammates, such as Bromas here. Only time that Bromas doesn't really become useful is when he really, really wants to play Bastion.
He really wants to hold his ultimate.
Yeah, really wants to hold his ultimate, but it still works. Somehow they still win when they bring offensive Bastion, but he can play anything. An absolutely amazing flex player. Next to him is Artia, the McCree that's probably, I don't think there's many people in professional Overwatch scene that have played more McCree than him. I think Valataja maybe, but Artia loves that hero, and yeah, you have to deal with this person. He is someone that they need to deal with going into this match. If they can handle him, they might have a chance. And then Linksaw, playing the sniper, it's somewhat similar to IDDQD in terms of his stability this tournament. We've had some really amazing games from him and some games where he hasn't overly performed or has been shut down, but so far a lot of teams haven't been able to shut him down. And at the end is Drakius. He's going to actually be playing on a different account because unfortunately he forgot his Battle.net authenticator. But he's a long-time teammate with Drakius. And at the back, as mentioned, is Nox, and he's the strats. He's the guy that makes all the compositions, and it's Numlocked in-game that calls all the shots. And yeah, he's done really well with his team, bringing them into pace. So here we go. Over to you, Mitch. We're into map 1.
It's a time to fire it up, ladies and gentlemen. The first map of this grand final. It is a best of 7 and is a 1-map advantage to Creation Esports. But of course, Rogue are hoping to rectify this issue and get one back here. However, IDDQD told me outside, he said he'd be happy if he didn't see King's Row again today. So Rogue not necessarily loving this map, but still, they're going to have to play it regardless here as well. And I have to see. I did ask IDDQD as well about how his team are feeling, especially after how the games went earlier. He said, look, you know, it was a tough one. We were pretty annoyed at each other after that game as well because we couldn't really identify what our problems were, but we chilled out a bit as well. We know that we have the players pound for pound. We think we're better. They're just going to show it here.
Yeah, we'll see if that's going to be the case. And taking a look at the comps, Rogue are going to go for the same comp they use versus Creation. Basically, they take the Junkrat, they block off the hotel on the left-hand side. Tivik can actually play medium range, kind of similar to a McCree, but he can also scout out enemy Widowmakers, and so it gets very difficult for Lynx. But Lynx doesn't normally play so much in the open. He actually plays, he steps back. You know, even here is actually quite a defensive position to be in, and then he's going to move around to the right. So whether or not they can actually get onto Lynx, the only way they can kill him is with their own sniper or with Tavik on the Hanzo. So a very standard defensive team, but I do like the chances of Rogue actually pushing him into a corner, and the Junkrat might actually stop them from coming aggressive on them as well. So this Junkrat is a great pickup for Wins and the team of Rogue Esports.
And he really proved as well, just against Graviton Surge before, how well he can play this Junkrat in this other situation. Look at that, taking out, at least pulling into his own team. It's going to be Archer, gets the assist onto him. Now IDDQD is looking for some right clicks on to that Reinhardt, and Numlock has to be relatively careful. We do have the revive coming in, the offensive one out of Unco, trying to get his teammates back alive so they can afford to go for this point. But it looks like it's already going the way here of Creation.
A res already used fairly early on there by Drakius to get his team back on his feet. And Bromas, one of the players that have fallen, now fighting back as well. And Wins is just going to get smashed by him. Tavik, they're just fighting back, putting an arrow towards the feet of Bromas, and he's going to force him away for the moment. But this guy, he's got balls. He's not afraid to challenge out a Widowmaker and just go for some shoulder peeks and see if he can test her there. It's going to be a hold, probably mostly off the back of Drakius here as well. But with this defensive Lucio, there is the potential for Creation to try and engage on the attacking side as they close the gap.
And they've been doing that really well, like bringing that Lucio on the defense just to get a few kills in exchange either way. It really helped out. And Link's getting also picks on his sniper so far. He's a big part of this defense. So let's see what they can do. Lynx is actually going to get taken out. Now, last time he killed AKM, so this is a go time really for the offensive team. And we're going to have to watch for Drakius on the res as he's at 99 now, 100%. Let's see if he can bring up the majority of his team if he needs to.
Solid Earth Shadow there from Reinforce. Absolutely, he's going to clean that fight up there. So there, we thought he'd be able to hold on, but just the ult there from the Reinhardt is going to make it so Rogue can take this point pretty comfortably at this stage.
Yeah, and you can really credit that to the momentum of the Mercies because they took out Drakius the first time on the first attack, which meant when he came in the second time, didn't have his ultimate available, but it also meant that Unco was able to assist his team and get back into the fight so much faster. So easy kind of, I wouldn't say easy first point, but this is a much better looking Rogue Esports. And even IDDQD has been playing way more aggressive, which is what I think they've really needed him to do for the majority of the tournament.
And that's something he's he said to us, before. He's not really comfortable doing just yet, but I agree with you. He's performing really well, being aggressive, and we need to see him do that to continue at least this dominance so far. But we do see a lot of ultimates online on the defensive side of Creation. Bromas has that tactical visor available, and Links are switching over the Pharah, trying to go up against Tavik head-to-head. The Pharah Mercy, which I really love to see. In the meantime, the rest of the fights are breaking out towards the payload, as so far this defensive side of Creation have picked up the majority of the kills. Even Nox able to pull out that 1v1 against Reinforced. The defensive revive's going to come back in. Unko used his as well, and Links are just looking for that last shot. Will connect onto Tavik, and this is going to be a hold.
Yeah, really nice hold. Big thing there was definitely having Bromas with his ultimate. I was never really sure how well this soldier was going to do, but just because you have ultimate, you really do want to be in the fight, and you're up against a Pharah, you're going to get a pretty decent amount of damage. I'm wondering if it's worth actually dropping your own Pharah on Tibik and playing with something that can actually offer a little bit more push on the payload, like a Zarya. But the Pharah, he's going to stay with it, he's going to have ulti soon, but actually Lynx, who comes in the back and it gets 2 or 3 with his own ulti, and already setting some pace for the defensive team as he picks up another one. Yeah, they need to deal with Lynx, and I don't think the offensive Pharah is really working out for Rogue Esports. I would rather that Pharah be switched onto something that can help get kills, but he's got the ultimate available, still doesn't have anything really to combo with it. I think this Pharah, well, I was going to say a bit of a problem, but Bromas out of position.
Yeah, a long way forward as well. Maybe just trying to keep Rogue quiet as they pressed up again. This Death Alley, as we've kind of named it. Yeah, as you said, Tavik has that barrage ready, and it's very, very hard to let go of a hero you've been playing, especially when you have such a power move.
It can still work, though. If they go aggressive now, they can definitely make it work, since Bromas isn't here.
Chaos has ultimate up too, though, so it's going to be a little bit dangerous. You can see Tavik trying to focus him down in particular, and Tavik's going to fall before he even has really a chance to make that one happen. But that's going to be both Pharahs now down. The Ursula's going to come in, it's going to connect hugely on a Creation. The barrage as well, the revive will come back in, and here's the second fight.
So Tavik's going to have to hold on here as well, because there's more people to kill, but it doesn't look like he's too worried. Just going to try and get back towards the fight, and AKM and IDDQD just went straight through them in that little engagement. So even the res not really helping out Creation at all. It seems as if Rogue are ready to fight back on the refight.
So Rogue have done this. This is the first time we've actually seen AKM playing the McCree, and the reason that they're doing this is that normally you have him on mix like a monkey, but I think he's playing the McCree specifically to counter actually the double McCree on the defensive team of Creation. The reason is like you need to handle their Crees. You don't do that with a monkey. So he's just decided to play his own McCree, and it's been working out. He's been helping IDDQD get a huge amount of kills.
Tavik trying to go for that 1v1 against Linkster, does eventually pick up the kill, and the Urshire connects onto 3 people. The defensive revive, it won't be there for Dracaeus because he's already dead, and they get the full wipe here. Dracaeus finally respawning back in, but now we're seeing Rogue push here, trying to go for the final. The question now comes down to, will they have what it takes? They've got 2 dead eyes. Let's see what they can do.
Yeah, and AKM's going to channel that one in as well and just force anyone away from those openings here. It's going to have to be a slower push out from Creation, or perhaps not so slow as the sound barrier is going to come down, but Nox is immediately stunned up. Numlocked is in the mix as well, trying to swing that hammer, but Bromas now, he's starting to fire up on that Bastion. No one really putting too much attention to him until Tavik takes him out, but the defense hold will be there. It's going to be a res as well, which may not have been so necessary, but it is going to keep Creation up for the next fight.
Yeah, just that switch on to Bastion pretty much won in that fight. The double McCree throwing down the ultis to kind of zone didn't get much out of it. So now they have a Bastion that they need to handle. This means that you're going to lose your shield really early as the Reinhardt, and that leaves you very susceptible just to being killed by the McCrees. So it's going to be hard here for Reinforced to actually make something happen. And he already gets taken out.
Bromas, yeah, he was dealt with. He's actually down already, so this allows Reinforced to play a little bit more. The hiding is coming in from both sides, and IDDQD, let's see how aggressive he can get. He's going to push it towards the left side, trying to catch up the Mercy. He gets knocked down by the Urshipe. Tavik, though, looking to save this one. Picks up 2, looking for that 3rd, but Numlock able to smack him out of the sky, and Bromas going tank mode, looking for some kills. He's got the protection of his own teammates there to help out here, looking for wins. He'll fall, but he'll get knocked down himself.
Nice.
And then Reinforced is very, very low as well, so unfortunately no team there to back him up, and Bromas, a successful use of that tank configuration.
This is an awesome switch from Rogue Esports. Tavik getting off the Pharah, going on the Sniper. Snipers are fantastic versus the Bastions, and also you're only playing against a single Genji.
And Bromas just actually switched to that. So is this a counter read? Is this Creation looking at like they're probably going to switch to deal with us, so we need to switch off it as well?
I know he's actually switched again. Yeah, he switched to Zarya, but I still think Tavik on this Widow would have been good, but Linksar actually takes him out. I believe ulti was up and used, so that's going to be a clean defense. So yeah, I mean when Genji has ulti available, you're just not going to make anything nice happen. And Wynn's going to suicide, not going to give him any more charge, and wants to respawn with his team. So really, really good play there by Creation to just switch on the whole back of what the Widow is doing. Oh, sorry, what the pick of Tivik was, which was the Widow. So it's going to be, they should probably want to play quite aggressive around the corner now. I can imagine they have a pretty strong team to fight on the payload. So if they just want to go ham here, the defensive team, it should work out.
I was going to say, Rogue actually do have the favorable defensive ultimates, but now Unko, he's got to be careful. He's going to be taken down. Unfortunately, Numblock is going to secure the kill into him when he had his res available, and ideally, this should be Rogue getting stopped yet again here with only about 2 minutes remaining. Deadeye going to be trying to come in. The defensive revive is going to help out as well, just as Dracaeus goes down, and I still want to say that this should be a fight that the defensive side should be able to hold on to.
They should win. They haven't used the res yet, and here it comes in from Unko, so this is where they have to turn on the momentum, and already Tivik and IDQD get one each, and that looks like this could be a push all the way to the end. We have to consider what they're going to switch onto for Creation Esports. Already there's a Diva, and Bromas is coming out, but are they going to fall for this as they did last time? And they actually do have the Diva who's going to drop down. Bromas is on the other side. They still have Tivik, though, that can actually snipe him out, and IDDQD gets a 4-man high noon, and that's going to be the win. Sorry for finishing that one off, guys.
No,
I was actually just kind of talking about the switches, and then it just kind of all the way happened. But yeah, this is Rogue Esports actually playing smart in their picks. AKM playing on the McCree. This is the first time that I've seen this team at this tournament, Creation Esports, lose McCree fights, like in a big way. Like Rogue Esports, their McCrees were actually, you know, Artier wasn't a big factor. He really wasn't. The only time Artier was actually doing work was when there was a Pharah, and he was picking off the Pharah, you know, a couple of times, and that was like, yeah, that's really good, that's nice. But after that, AKM and the team and IDDQD pretty much made Artier a non-factor, which I think is the centerpiece of Creation Esports when it comes to DPS.
So shut down Artier, and then you pretty much cut to the heart of Creation Esports.
You really do.
Well, 8 minutes and 14 seconds was the time that was set here as well, and even inside the booth, I think it was AKM standing up and just trying to get into the face there of Creation a little bit. I don't really know if it worked. I don't really care. I think Bromas is like twice the size of him, so I don't know how well that's going to go. All right.
Well, we're into the second half, though. 8:14, I think, was the time, as you said, and that's going to be not too difficult of a time to beat. Obviously, it's going to be coming down to these, you know, really big battles through Death Alley, through the first point as well, particularly, and towards the end. But, you know, James, in your mind, is this a time that Creation can beat?
Oh yeah, they should beat this if they get to play their game, but the whole point is, right, on the defense to try and not make that happen. Rogue have been doing weird stuff on defense. They've even had Hog on this. They've had Zenyatta. They don't want to do that. They really don't want to do that tactic. So they're going to pick up Tivik on this Widow, which I love. Linksa's played Pharah a few times. He's also played Widow on offense as well. So if he does play the Pharah, he might have a tough time, and they don't currently have a Zarya to help him out, but Bromas might switch back onto the Zarya. I haven't seen him play Widow so far this tournament, but all in all, a much stronger defense when it comes to fighting on the ground with AKM and IDDQD, and it now means that normally just worrying about IDDQD wasn't so much of a factor because he was always playing behind the Reinhardt shield. AKM now can actually start flanking, and Creation Esports don't do the kind of attack that Rogue do, where they put a Junkrat to cover this room here where we're watching AKM. This is Hotel. You can't play in that when there's a Junkrat on offense sometimes, or defense. If they don't have that, it means that AKM can actually come through there and start flanking, and that's potentially, you know, means that you can wipe a whole team if you get your McCree in a good place.
I was curious why we don't see maybe more of the melty shot of the double Reaper. Lucio speed up into the hotel, go straight past. Is there any reason why we're not seeing that too much? Because that absolutely demolished Rogue when they played against Melty.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen people really counter that as well. Like I say, you put a Junkrat there still, but you could actually just kind of shift through it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, and you know, after you get past the Junkrat, you know, if you're not getting hit by the spam and you're on the enemy team, your chances are you're going to get a kill. You're going to get some health globes and you're going to heal. So I haven't seen that actually stopped this tournament when they did the double Reaper.
I don't really feel like we'll see that replicated though here. Neither of these two teams have really shown a proclivity to go for that, or even you know, talking to the Creation guys watching the Rogue versus Graviton Surge game as well. We did see a Reaper come out towards the end there, which was a very different context, of course, to see it as well. But there were definitely questions raised about how effective that was actually going to be. But Again, we'll have to really see how it all works out. I mean, these guys are generally fairly staid. You're not going to hear them sort of getting too excited at this point. Although earlier on, though, when they played Rogue the first time, these guys were super loud, really shaking the glass there as well in front of them. Whereas Rogue were obviously fairly dejected, but even when they're winning, it sort of seems like that's what they expect. And even when Rogue won against Graviton Surge, they looked like they lost. That's what you would have thought looking at them.
They didn't seem overly happy, when they won that game, the series even.
Do you think Creation actually got in their heads? Because there's still, a bunch of young guys there. I mean, Reinforced, I think he's like 20, 21.
Yeah, most of them are 20.
And like they haven't even really been to LAN too often. Do you think that was a major factor in, Rogue kind of taking a turn for the worst?
No, I think they looked at where they were losing and they needed sometimes people to be working together better. So I think I don't think they were necessarily beaten big by other teams. I think they beat themselves, Rogue Esports, and so I think they've not been really satisfied. You're not celebrating on the win when you're in that mindset, right? You don't really go, we won, we're in the grand finals. You're like, okay, now we're actually where we think we should have been.
Back on track.
Yeah, and let's get ready for this match and keep this momentum.
All right. Well, it does appear that both teams are ready to go. I think it was keyboard issue.
Unco, yeah, something happened.
Well, nonetheless, we're going to be jumping back in the game as well. So, not an issue to remake when we were so early on in the piece here as well. I doubt even either team got to look at each other's comps, so it's no big deal. We're going to jump back into King's Row, ladies and gents. And this very anti-hype 30 seconds while we wait for people to pick their heroes is what we're going to see. And again, we talked about Bromas. We wondered if he would stay on that Widow. It's unlikely it will. And also the question remains if Lynx does persist with this Pharah pick and be playing into Tvik's Widowmaker, how that's actually going to work out.
Not sure, but I think that if you're going to play this defense as Rogue, you actually want to really use the Lucio speed and go aggressive with your McCrees. And that leaves actually a problem for Tvik on his own Widow, because if you want a position to help your team and actually get some shots off, and the enemy team disengage, you can't actually do much. Because if you put yourself in a vulnerable position here and you don't have aid, if there's a monkey or an offensive Widow, Bromas, if he stays on it, shooting at you, you're very exposed. And that Widow versus Widow fight, if you lose it on the defending team, you can almost lose the point first time.
I look at it though, and I'm just like, what does Creation have to deal with Tvik besides the fact if he gets far enough away and he can escape? I mean, they don't have a shield to hide behind, right? I mean,
Lynx is really good if they can go aggressive and get into position. And also Bromas is fine, and Numlocks. They actually have a lot to get on to Tvik, but the problem is like, if they do that and commit so much looking for Tvik, the ground floor will get mopped up by two McCrees. So this is the interesting thing. It's like, what's the positioning of Tvik? How does he play with his team? And when do Rogue Esports go aggressive, even though they're playing defense?
All right, so
and he is going to switch, And that's going to help him a lot when it comes to the ground force. So now Tvik really just needs to worry about Lynx on the Pharah.
Actually, can we see where Tvik is? Actually, he's playing on the ground, so he's not going to be off to the side. And he's killing a Lynx so just like that around the corner.
Play behind the shield.
And that's the air battle one for them.
Yeah, and even now they're posing very aggressive. This is giving Tvik a lot of support, and they might even want to pick up another kill here, but they're just going to do a little bit of damage, and he gets him on the spawn. So Tvik, we haven't seen him play Widow this whole tournament, and he is a fantastic Widow.
How to get into someone's head. Lynx are probably one of the more susceptible players to this as well. So based on momentum, he's been able to build up none so far.
Yeah. He needs to snipe from the ground.
Lynx. And he actually was just like kind of rocking his chair, like he's getting frustrated at getting picked off twice in a row like that.
He's going to jump back in now as well, as is the rest of Creation Esports here. AKM, boots on the ground. We talked about the McCree's doing work, but Lynx are actually now making up for lost time, I guess you could say. As well, he gets a good shot on towards Vic as well, but on the swing back, it is going to be to Vic to get the better of him there as well. Yep.
So basically what happened, exactly what we kind of talked about a little bit earlier, it was that the McCrees lost the fight on the ground. It was RTA that went down, so everything was on Lynx. He gets picked up by Tvik, it's safe. It's safe again. So the McCrees are shutting down RTA, which is pretty much what the plan is.
Well, that was a failed Earth Shatter if I've ever seen one. Reinforced able to block that one away now. He charges off and he's kind of separated from his team here, opening up to Vic to actually get some, Lynx to get some picks on towards the Rogue guys here. And I think Res is available for Drakius at this stage, but it may well not be required as it does seem to be far more successful attacking push. It's a full wipe here and Creation will get that payload rolling.
We had AKM and IDDQD die in the back lines, and Unco committed his res just for those two people to get back up. But as soon as they actually got revived, RTR and Linkster combined to take them out again immediately. Yep. So that revive was absolutely useless. It gave them absolutely nothing. But if anything now, they do have the opportunity to position and put up a stable defense here in this alley.
Yeah, Tivic's going to be really crucial. Switching over to Farah. Got to play around Linkster on his sniper. If he can do that, that's going to be a big factor because the single McCree won't be able to do too much, and it would also give Unco a little bit of air, a little bit of time in the air that he might feel somewhat safe. But this is the first corner, and I think they did a good defense, Rogue Esports, on the first point, and definitely with their comp, it's no one's game. So we're really looking at the ultimates, and Unco is the healer, doesn't have his ultimate, so we have to see what happens.
See Tavik there as well, just bouncing himself back into the backlines. He's being pocketed as well. It's a very dangerous position if he can't challenge it out, but that's an Earth Shatter coming in from Creation. Ooh. But it's not going to matter. The rockets are coming in thick and fast. The res is going to be required here to keep them going.
But Tavik is still in the air. He's at 93%. He's going to have his ultimate up soon, but Linkster takes him down, takes down his healer as well. Unco's going to fall, and just like that, Creation have gotten some control. Lucio trying to come in for this one wins. You got to be careful, son. He will at least be able to knock him back off of this one, but now the Emphasite going to be popped. The rest of the team can't see exactly what's happening. IDDQD picks up 2, and this is looking good for, I'd say, for Creation.
Yeah, Creation got what they wanted. They got around the first corner. Really what was important was they ended up getting a kill on Unco. If Unco got back in after the Creation's res and Rogue Esports got their res, they would have been able to really hold that fight and hold them at the first choke point. At least now they're at the second choke point, but IDDQD has been playing great so far this match on his McCree.
He had an unfortunate first phase, I feel, in that first area. You got killed pretty quickly and spent a lot of time walking back just to die again, but now he's able to hold on.
Look at the ultis for...
Oh, reinforced! But the problem now, he's not with this team if they do actually go for a hard engage on top of this. And Case is going to be actually forced to go for a revive here. AKM in a perfect position, but the shield's going to be there. It only gets Bromas down. IDQD and AKM together, but it's just not going to be enough. This is going to be another hold here out of Rogue.
Yeah, they had so many ultis, and they really haven't even needed to commit them. And Unco also has res. He's going to bring up wins. And Tivik held his ulti that whole time, and now they've got the ulti on IDDQD on his McCree, as opposed to AKM. But also Graviton Surge was wasted. They weren't able to follow up. And I don't think really that Link should be playing Widowmaker on this middle point, not against a team with 2 McCrees, because you don't have enough distance or angles to shoot them without getting shot back. And even though McCree has fall-off damage, they're playing so well at that mid-range, and they can ignore the Widowmaker if he wants to try and flank, and they can actually just focus on winning the payload fight. So I'd say get off the Widowmaker.
Well, he's done that. Obviously, this is him now on that Pharah, so we'll see what he can do. He's already gotten rid of IDDQD now as well. Just being threatened a little bit by Unco, who wants to get up in his face. Obviously, Barrage, a long way from being ready here as he's just brought this in, and I think there's Bromas there as well. A lot of high noons being channeled, but I almost don't bother to try and catch them anymore. Again, just constant pressure being placed down this Death Alley as well. And Linkster definitely a linchpin in this fight as well. It's going to be a Barrage coming out. Can he actually stop it? Yes. In fact, Tavik is taken down by Bromas in midair.
And Linkster and Tavik didn't even go head-to-head in that fight. It was just about Linkster dismantling them one by one. I think that was IDDQD that died on that ledge as he was trying to go for a Deadeye. Didn't get the flashbang off in time. But he was able to at least take down one of the McCrees, making it more possible for them to win that ground battle.
And now Tivik's going to move on to Widow himself to counter the Pharah, and Lynx is going to move back onto the Widow. Which again is that one of those risky moments where both Widows are like, okay, if any one of us gets picked off, that could be it for our whole team. And it is the double McCree for both. So absolutely same lineup here.
And Deadeye's now being popped. There was actually 2 of them coming out here from the side at this stage of creation as well. Maybe just to zone, maybe just to catch. But either way, they've got the damage done. Non-lock to Bromas getting together. And Bromas still being in the back lines here, trying to deal with that Widow up on high. Does get the dink as well. She's just, well, Tavik, should I say, is just forced to back away for a moment. But the Earth Shatter comes in. Numlock trying to make something happen with that. Does land a successful charge on towards Unco. He didn't have an ultimate ready. So it wasn't like they're missing out on that one right now. But it is the 2 Reinhardts trying to go head-to-head. Numlocked eventually will fall, though, because this is IDDQD come back into it in style.
Pushing together.
There is not going to be great. How long we got left? We've got just under 2 minutes for Creation Esports to get through. And IDDQD, you know, he is the Mouse 1 McCree player, doing nice, but unfortunately he's going to get taken out by Bromas. Reinforce is into position, wants to get the kill, and there is going to be a defensive res used by Unco as well. So they really want to keep their team in a nice position, and in comes the Lucia ult for Creation Esports.
Good play by Reinforce to actually get in his face. He has no opportunity at all to pull off a Deadeye kill into anyone. and that Mercy will just barely escape this one. But Esports needs to be careful. His barrier is gone. He's not been taken down from this one. Tavik and Unka, the last two remaining, up against the 3 DPS and potentially the revive soon here out of Jakeus.
And you're going to have ulti used by Lynx on his Widowmaker, and they probably heard that. So Tivik's not even going to want to try and use his Widow. I'm sure he's going to swap, and he is going to swap. He's going to go to D.Va. Let's see if they can push it out. They've got to hold for 1 minute here on the last point.
It's going to be messy here. Tavik almost gets the knockdown as well, but he stops the Deadeye being used there. Bromas falls, and in fact it was Artear as well, the one that went down, and now Tavik from the backside just trying to spread some damage, trying to keep this fight going. Stall is everything, but he is desuited now. Has to back away, of course. The double McCree still trying to do work. It was ID to QD off towards the side. Didn't even have to use that Deadeye there, as it was AKM who put the final nail in the coffin. Nox falls, and they hold for now.
All right, 1 minute remaining. You still see Lynx on his Widow off. He actually didn't get killed, so he just ran back. So they know there's a Widow. Tivik is still going to go back on his Widow to try and counter. But that was such good play from Tivik, knowing that the ulti was used, going back in, changing to D.Va. But Lynx again has another ulti. Tivik's got to be very careful. And he's going to drop.
Right, it does go down as well. A bit of a charge there in towards that center part. And it looks like it's going better for the defenders. In fact, it looks like Drakeus got knocked off the edge a little bit there as well. It's still the hold, so there's still some time in this one. Time is ticking down. It looks like reinforced. And they may have just managed to do it here. Rogue are going to get this first map away. They said they didn't want to see it today at all, anymore at least, but they will take it away nonetheless.
Well done by them to actually hold on at the end. Like you said, James, that was this great switch over to the D.Va to actually eliminate Linkster from having an opportunity to even fight into this one. And they're just going to keep skirmishing, battling this out. But we all know how Rogue have won. That's just a little bit too late here for Creation. So a good start here for Rogue in this best of 7. And they do tie things up now at 1 apiece. And I think Reinforce is just showing off now. He's just showing off for the camera. Even Wade in the back is just laughing.
I don't think the other guys are used to that as well. He's the only one that's really going to get super excited about this stuff. I mean, Vic's not going to do anything. IDDQ, he's far too humble for that, so leave it to Johnny to fire the boys up.
There we go. That was really easy to commentate, by the way. Because I was in their booth telling them, you should put AKM on McCree.
Well, at least they did it. I mean, at least they're taking your ideas not to fix, because we saw what that looked like in the last series.
AKM was actually talking about it, trying to convince him, and I walked in and I was like, hey guys, you know you're playing against the McCree gods. You need more McCree power. That's how you counter McCree. So AKM, like, such a difference maker. And Tivik, so good on Widow as well. First time he's played at this tournament.
Really, I'm surprised he gets to play the game from this one too, from this end. I mean, it does focus on a Mercy, does get Linkster out of the fight initially, but we did see Linkster actually escape this one in the end of things, so.
Yeah, not sure how that qualifies as a player of the game, but I don't think anyone else in chat also knows why either. But more importantly, guys, that's that one map advantage that's now been quashed. So we do have an even Stevens game going into it.
Confidence.
What's that?
Confidence.
Yeah,
that's true.
They just got beat. They didn't finish the map. And their McCrees probably don't feel so hot right now.
Especially Linkster. I mean, I think for him, because he was extremely frustrated in the beginning of that attack. He got picked off twice by Tavik, once on the Pharah, once on the Widowmaker.
I don't know if they felt that. I don't know if they believe that or they just think it just didn't go their way. But it was a really fun, it was super interesting to watch the kind of the...
You tried observing that shit. It was not easy. You try catching those Deadeyes.
Don't worry about that. But it's like the McCree battles, was like a huge factor. And then you also had pretty much Tivik versus Lynx.
Yeah.
And Tivik, he played Lynx's game of Sniper or Widow, and he actually ended up, in my opinion, somewhat winning that. Really interesting match. But I do think the reses were very, very good for Creation. Unko didn't really get all the good reses that he wanted in that match. But
now, when we look at the double McCree battles, how much would you say that comes down to someone like Wins saying, okay, we're going in, like, is it Wins the one saying the call that we're going in with the McCrees because he's going to speed boost them in to catch them off guard? Or is that mostly like, IDDQ and AKM saying, okay, we want to push?
I mean, you make a lot of these decisions just based off what ultimates you have.
Right.
If you can back up your McCrees here, with, say, Lucio ulti, but of course the main one is really your Mercy. That's really where it comes from. But it's more about the positioning, I would say, than outside of the ultimates. It's like this is a good corner that we can use. We should hold it. We should fight. And you saw that there was no point in this map compared to where Creation were playing before, where Creation literally just wiped the whole team and kept moving.
Right.
Because of the two McCrees on defense, there was a constant chance that there was exchanging kills. So it was much harder, of course, for the Mercies of both teams to get a good res. But they just put in more damage on Rogue Esports, and that stopped what Creation are really good at, which is coordination and supporting each other. You can't. Yeah, go on. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, I just want to point out, we didn't even talk about it. Lijiang Tower is going to be our second map here as well. So the only non-payload map in the pool is coming out at such an early stage here as well. And this is going to be very interesting here. We do see Rogue coming in with a double Tracer comp. It's double McCree's for Creation.
And Bromas trying to just play the long game here. The double Tracer I kind of look at and is a little bit confused at, because when they played Graviton Surge in the beginning of the bracket, they won it because they felt like they could get away with it. And you even said yourself, James, they know they're better aimers than them at the time. So they felt like that would easily work for them. They've gone completely wiped out on the first attack. Do you think we're going to see that switch?
Potentially not, just because normally on the first attack, if your team isn't set up in position and it's very cornered, the actual tracers don't work very well. The tracers work well when you can actually play with a bit of space in the center. But what Creation Esports did there was actually they were just positioned as a whole team in the middle. So you're going to see the tracers want to play on the point, and this is where they try and find people all by themselves to get the kills. So even though you lose the first time with tracers, you can easily come back and win the second fight. But it really depends again on the McCrees and against the tracers. But so far, looks like the McCrees doing pretty good.
Yeah, it feels like we're seeing Creation actually will stick together. They're not giving them an opportunity to pick off anyone. We did see, eventually Drakeus get, almost 1v1 by AKM, but he joins his party, and then AKM immediately has to retreat and is really struggling to get much done. But now the ultimates are starting to come online. Pulse available for IDDQD, but AKM already fallen in this the initial attack, as Bromas is just trying to keep them out of this room.
Yeah. So if they lose this attack, they'll probably switch off the tracers. This will be, I would guess, their last attack on tracers, because they have two ultimates, and if they take it, they might be able to play out the rest of the game with the point. But so far, the defense has been fantastic for Creation.
Bromas just being pressured there a little bit. It's a little bit of a different tact here for Rogue, trying to go around from the outside, but Bromas not stopping for anyone. It's the pulse bomb that is actually going to bring him to a screeching halt. And in the meantime, AKM and IDDQD are getting the groundwork done here on this point. Like you said, those ultimates were available and they were used.
So that's pretty much what they wanted to do on the second attack without having to use the ultimates. And now the tracers on defense, they have to just be so on point. This is actually very hard to hold versus so many ultimates now on Creation.
Lynx are now getting aggressive as well. It's going to be a sound barrier used. It's going to be for, obviously, the team of Rogue. They're going to be benefiting from that one. But of course, Graviton Surge comes in, and Lynxer is able to go back behind and fan the hammer. They're all drawn together in a ball. It's easy pickings.
AKM, though, and IDDQD both still alive. Well, just quick as I say that, IDDQD is going to be actually falling as Lynxer's just right-clicking away, fan of the hammer. And AKM, though, eventually going to come in. He's going to keep it contested, but I don't really assume he's going to be able to do it for much longer, as he will eventually fall, giving over the point.
Yeah, too many ultimates to survive there. And Lynx getting a nice pick off with his flash at the beginning. Ultimates are now down apart from Lynx. Tivik does have Graviton Surge, so that Zarya is probably going to be the key factor going into this fight, if he can get a good one off.
And they have pulse bombs available to pair in with this Graviton Surge if they do it correctly. There it goes.
That's the moment.
Straight away, it's being used there as well. Pulse bomb, just one is enough, and AKM gets himself 3. It's an easy push here as well with the ultimates all available and stacked up, and that's often what we tend to see on this King of the Hill maps, guys. AKM with a huge couple of kills to set his team in motion.
So you're not likely to actually see Creation take the retake as easily as they took last time. They don't have the ultimates, and you're going to see Wins actually have his sound barrier. So this game is up for grabs now.
Is going to be using that Deadeye as well, but behind him was IDDQD, making his life just a little bit harder. Again, it's been traded back and forth here.
They've lost their tracers.
That sound barrier being used as well, definitely going to be helping out Creation to hold on to this one. We're getting a little bit close to that overtime phase here as well, with Creation putting up such a strong hold, and Bromas as well has been instrumental in that regard. Maybe not the strongest Zarya on the map, but the rest of his team have backed him up nicely.
Bromas is just still able to do so much damage with not really being harassed. His shield, or his energy, is at 67 currently, and just continue to hammer away as the rest of the team's going to eventually clean them up. And now we're going to have to see these tracers still committed with, because they need to get on this point. They need to force it into overtime. Even Tivik trying to come in at the last second to help out. And AKM, he's got his post available, but they're pushing out against them. They're trying to actually not allow them even into this room.
Graviton Surge used, but it's
Nicely
a little
done
bit
by
too
Creation.
late. First one, going over to Creation,
Yeah,
thoughts?
big mistake at the end there, playing that far forward with your tracers. Completely unnecessary. They didn't have to play. They didn't have to play against a huge amount of ultimates. Whether or not they knew that, it didn't matter. You still want to play a little bit further back. That was cocky. That was maybe overconfidence, but it was the wrong move, and it pretty much cost Rogue Esports the game. Losing your 2 tracers that early. That's over. You can play around the Deadeye in the high noon in the middle room. You still have a lot of room. But playing that far forward, they got picked off. They lost the map because of it. But
they're still committing to the same lineup here too.
Nah, we'll work on
there they go.
this one.
They did just switch over to the Dome McCrees. So we're pretty much seeing exactly the same lineups out of both teams. It comes down to who's going to just outplay the other. And they're going to go for a little bit of a skirmish here, trying to poise for a good position to keep them out of entering this position. But now you see in the back, Tavix getting a little bit caught out as they're just going to chase down Jakeus. And I think that was as well RT are able to kill into him.
Good. Further pressure on towards the point. It's just a brawl at this stage, and that's kind of all that actually has to be. RTR and Lynx are combining quite nicely here. The double McCrees, we've said how scary they can be, and RTR is a self-professed fan of the right click.
Yeah, like, that's RTR at its best, right? I mean, throwing a flashbang through the window, collecting another 2 kills. I will say, though, Bromas did a lot better job in that previous fight in terms of assisting his team and staying alive, which is all you're really trying to do as Zarya at the start. You're not trying to overly get the kills, but AKM going in, nice shield there, and AKM might be in a little bit of trouble now. Lynx and RTR pick him up, and there's going to be ultimates now coming up after the second fight that they will surely win for Creation Esports, so it's going to get even harder from here on out for Rogue Esports.
It just seemed like Rogue got cut out a little bit. I think that was AKM off into one of these side rooms by himself, being chased onto a Winston. Maybe he was trying to get them to use some ultimates, but even have them online at the time. Linkster is going to have his Deadeye available, and Bromas has his Graviton Surge, so if they come through any choke point, they're completely going to get locked down, and the High Noon's going to be coming in from the top, but again, the shield comes down, it eliminates that possibility.
IDDQD from the top side. Like you said, Hainu not really working out, but IDDQD is one of his own, and there's no sound barriers available. It's only a Lynx that falls, and Numlock gets right in his face, and in fact, goes straight through it there as well. Creation are not allowing this point to even be remotely contested. They're holding such a forward line of scrimmage here, and there's no chance so far for Rogue to break through. They've gone, obviously no traces this map. Those 2 McCrees, you saw IDDQD try and work in from the outside with a stun. Not working out.
I actually think that they haven't used their Zarya very well, Rogue Esports. They might as well have had that be a Reaper. But they aren't going to get their first Graviton Surge out. But it's going to be countered by a Lucio Sound Barrier.
Yeah, and they put the defensive shield out of the Winston too, just prevent any damage from coming through. But RTR again picks up some kills. He's got the Deadeye out, but he doesn't really have any targets to hit for now. IDDQD just surviving a sliver of HP. The flashbang going to finish him off. And AKM's going to fall as well, and this is just looking like a landslide. I don't think we're going to see Rogue get any progress actually on this checkpoint.
Yeah, this is completely outplayed. I mean, the McCrees are playing so much better with their Zarya and vice versa on the side of Creation, and that's the difference maker. Rogue, their Zarya and McCrees aren't coordinating very well. Now is the first time we actually see them kind of working together, but already you're up against Bromas and RTR holding the corner, and they are going to lose. So, yeah, when you lost the first point, when they lost the second fight, it was like, okay, this is going to be ridiculously bad. Sure. We're now up against ultis. They almost have to like throw themselves in, clean out the ultis, and then they should have switched to hero. I think you could have removed the Zarya and actually gone for a Reaper of your own, or even a Tracer. So you still have to play against the 2 McCrees, because they weren't playing aggressive enough with the Zarya. They weren't coordinated. And play a Reaper maybe, just take out that monkey, take out the Zarya, even get lucky on the McCree if you can, and then you might have a comeback chance, but really just amazing play by Creation there.
One thing I've always wondered is why we actually don't see many Reapers when we have double monkey or even one monkey. I mean, obviously you'd like to play the Reaper as an aggressive kind of hero, but what if you sat on top of one of your McCrees and wait for people to come at you?
Yeah.
Because you know the monkey's going to jump you.
Yeah, you are. But I mean, there's no problem.
It's a risk though, right?
There's no problem bringing in a Reaper, especially when they're holding corners like that aggressively. They're holding corners and they're using Zarya shield better, and their McCrees are being more aggressive. And they're just collecting kills and they're snowballing. A Reaper can actually, kill somebody just so fast. And then once you kill somebody, it's like you start snowballing the other way, right? And if you're in trouble, yeah, you can normally get away. And there's a 250 health pack to the left of you and one just near where the entrance where you came in as well on that map. So, yeah, fell behind, wrong comp. What do you want me to say?
No. That was perfect. That was perfect.
Yeah, multiple times as well. You saw guys like IDDQD try and work in from a flank on his own or something like that as well. I mean, he wasn't able to work alongside the rest of his team. He was hoping to just nip in there, get a pick on Isaiah or something similar, and then back away, maybe even join the rest of his team. But guys like Lynx and guys like Numlocked, especially, we're not allowing players to play off the fringe. He would identify flanks quickly, and he would just address them and just jump on top of them.
I mean, when you're in that McCree versus McCree war, you're expecting that you are not going to constantly survive, but you want to put out the maximum amount of damage in the minimum amount of time, right? So with IDDQD playing pretty far back and them not having position, his mouse ones were completely worthless. And again, as you mentioned, Numlock just countered one of the McCrees. So, and that means what? You've got two McCrees on the other side that are pretty much uncontested, and Zaria's got them nicely just in front of her, where she can be like, oh, you need the shield, or you need the shield. And yeah, it was really nicely played by Creation Esports, but I think Rogue, I'm not even sure they know why they lost that, really. I don't think if they would have figured it out, but that means that I think we're on match point now.
No,
right?
It should be 2-1.
Oh, it's 2-1.
Yeah,
It's best of 7. Sorry, they need to get to 4. I'm as bad at math as that Johnny kid. Reinforcing there from the...
Yeah, it's going to be a 4-0.
I'm not even sure if Johnny knew at the time that their creation actually had a map advantage going into that, even though I told all the players on their team as well, but... Yeah, what can you do? So, yeah, an advantage here as well. I mean, you throw a map like that in. You said this, wrong comp got behind. It's quite simple as well. And the snowballing aspect of King of the Hill, I think, really was showcased a little bit more there. But we're going to be going over towards Route 66, guys, as well. A map we saw a little bit of Rogue when they went up against Graviton Surge as well.
Yeah, they played the wrong comp, Rogue, though. They brought in Hog. I think they went against 2 soldiers. And even if the Hog hooks somebody, you die to the other soldier. You know what I mean? Like, you are just... On this map at the distance on the first point, you're going to have a hard time. And the middle area isn't so great for defense, where we're just being shown now by Mitch T-Tors. And then the first point is really where it needs to... This is where, if you want to make a statement on defense, you need to start strong here. You're probably going to let him through the second area, and then the final point is where you can truly hold somebody. So Tivik is actually going to be playing the sniper. First time we see him them playing sniper on the defense. And we're going to have 2 McCrees. I actually think Soldier's pretty good on defense here, and you can set up a bit of a crossfire. But I guess they're going to play together. And this is actually quite a good defensive lineup, because on the offense, you've still got the Bastion. He's not necessarily going to get angles on anybody if you don't want him to, and they don't have monkeys to jump, so they won't be putting much pressure. So it's going to be a lot of Lynx versus Tivik. So Lynx is the big player here, unless Bromas is obviously going to switch to Zarya again.
I was actually curious if they're trying to use the Bastion to eliminate the shield on top of the big girl side. And
I think he might stay off.
We saw Bromouse walk around in recon mode for like half of the last Route 66 as well, being boosted by a Mercy no less. So they're happy to use him in that way, and it looks like, again, much the same story, but Link's quickly going to ascend up just to check where Tivik will be holding from.
I like where Tivik actually put his Venom Mine, because Linkster before went into the underground area to actually try to go for a flanking sniper roll. Yeah. But with that, he's going to spot him coming and will allow him to actually cancel that out.
Yeah, it's really smart, using your Widow Mine pretty much not for the damage, just for scouting as a Widow. So you can see Bastion not really getting anything that he wants, and Tivik is going to get the first kill onto Link. So already, I'm not sure why they need to go aggressive here. They were winning from a distance, and actually Reinforce is just going to die to Bromas, but AKM and Tivik are going to help pick up the kills, and Tivik already with his ultimate available, and IDDQD going to clean that up. So they did want to go aggressive. They lost their Reinhardt, but they were like, it's okay, there's no sniper, and we just want to get rid of the Bastion, and they did that.
And now Linkster has no chance of winning this sniper battle, because ideally should have no chance, because now Tivik does have his infra side up, so he's going to be able to spot Linkster coming in, and at least be able to prevent him from being effective at all. And he's going to hide behind Reinforce as well, to be able to put some extra damage in.
Well, they're the shots you want to hit, though, but you'll notice that Bromas has switched off to the McCree now as well. No more Bastion hijinks here, but Tivik still making life hard. He's actually already picked off Drakius there as well, and he's off towards the side. He's got enough space to work in here. Linkster is even trying to find him. He's got no idea where he is. And now it's seeing the shots come behind him. The Tracers, he knows where his opponent is, but still it's not going to be enough. Tivik just stomps him.
Okay, so in this situation, do you feel like it's worth for Tivik to just ignore everyone else and try to take Linkster out?
Yeah. I mean, he even had more shots available on the McCrees, but he was like, no, I know Lynx is going to come up. Lynx didn't think he was going to be chased by Tivik, and actually wasn't looking the right direction, and it was Unko that ended up helping pick up the kill. But he's been a real big difference here on the Widow, as I say that, as he now finally gets taken out by Lynx. But they still might have enough time to put in a last defense. There is going to be a high noon. Yeah, and they are in position, so there is going to be a last defense. They're going to have to do it without the Widow. So it's really McCree on McCree's here. And Wins is actually going to pick up Lynx.
And Arts here is getting really aggressive, or not really aggressive, his opponent, I think AKM, getting really aggressive, trying to flank him in from the back. So Uncle's going to have Revive available to him relatively soon. He can just get it up in a couple of seconds. The question now comes, how many people is he going to revive onto this one? IDQ is going to be available. The Earth Shatter comes in as well to buy him some time. And Unco, that's 2 kills for this man. That's 3, actually.
I think Unco's actually picked up more kills than Reinforce. And I actually hear shouting. So currently, Unco, if there was a KDA, I think he's somewhere around 3-1 or 3-2
Just smash
so far.
Bromas in the end of that.
Yeah,
as well.
his KDA so far on this Mercy, he's picking up kills. Absolutely amazing just to know your limits and really just want to, help your team fucking feel like they're going to win the game.
And he's no longer saying team, he's saying I am team.
He is the team.
Well, Bromas trying to come in from the side, gets a good first shot, but unfortunately not able to secure the kill into IDDQD. However, he did pretty much mitigate that Deadeye, forcing him to turn around and miss out on everything. The Inversight comes in yet again, the flashbang to follow up with, and there's the revive being forced out of Jakeus.
Now, Tvik is forced back here by this Genji switch, so I didn't really highlight, but Lynx has obviously gone away from the Widowmaker now. It's going to be a defensive sound barrier, and Tvik from the back is just going to try and get damage done. No one is paying attention to him, and that's perfect for him. But now Lynx trying to pressure on towards him here, or now maybe even AKM, just trying to get in the mix here, get some damage across the line, and just pick off those people off towards the side. And there it is, attacking side. Had some success here, but IDDQD was left alive. He's able to wreak havoc, and again, the hold remains. This is Creation Esports butting their head against the wall and making minimal progress.
Yep. Tivik has actually forced Lynx off the Widow. He's now on the Genji, as you saw. You can actually babysit your own Widow now with the Mercy, and there's not really much the single Genji can do. But Lynx is going to have ulti. If they can use this ulti, they're going to get the point, but it's really up to Lynx.
All right, well, here it comes. Coming out, looking for some kills, goes straight for Tvik, and unfortunately loses track of him, and is able to actually get away from him. He eventually picks the kill as well. The Dragon Strike, the Dragon Blade's going to be absolutely useless. Tvik looking for another onto RTR, or Bromas, but he's just not able to connect the shots, and he will eventually fall, being chased away. But it doesn't matter. The rest of Rogue is going to be here.
He bought so much time to Vik. He even took one of the McCrees with him in terms of didn't kill him, but held his attention. And IDDQD came in and cleaned up. So now Tivik is actually going to have his ultimate as well on the Widow, so it's going to be hard. And we've got 2 Genjis now because they're like, one's not enough. We need 2. But really, if the Mercy plays well with Tivik on the Widow, it's so difficult for him.
Possibly the first time we've seen Artier on Genji all day as well. So we'll see if we can make something happen here as well. That's kind of the idea, of course, a bit of a melty-esque approach to really just trying to roll over the top of this point and get it done in quick time. But Tvik is still there as always, and he's picking them off one by one. Lynx had already fallen to IDDQD earlier on.
Points.
And Tvik on high, not going to find too much though, but avoiding getting knocked down by that Earth Shatter can still do work here.
But hit into overtime too, so we need to see Creation do something here. The defense ultimate going to come out with the resurrection, and they'll give everyone back alive to defense. Yeah, none at all. And this will be still down to the double Genjis to stall for a little bit of time. IDQD not even going for the right clicks. He wants the lefts, and that'll just be on Nox to try to hold on. He'll fall, and this should be a successful hold. This should be Creation not securing even the first checkpoint.
That's pretty impressive stuff there. I mean, a little bit of a different team.
He's trying to get him back. No, he's trying to get in their heads, I think.
I mean,
he looks so right.
Well, you haven't won yet, buddy. All right, yeah, let's just relax. But of course, an important match to be picking back up there as well. Hey, and you can get. I think a guy like Lynx is a guy whose head you can get into. We've already talked about it a lot, actually.
It's not even that; they're just not adapting. It's like you're sure you might have got into Lynx's head, and Tivik is still, in my opinion, if not the best player. No, he is. He is one of the best DPS players, and actually, there's actually a round of applause in the room of Rogue Esports there for Unco. And this is Creation Esports who are just like, wait a minute, we've won every single game, and we can't take first point on Route 66, a map where you should always get first point. And the reason is like they were throwing a single Genji trying to handle Tivik, but instead of actually just throwing in a scientist with him. You need a scientist to figure it out and also use his gun and kill. Because if they did that, the Widow wouldn't have had less of a chance. And yeah, and they played as well one McCree for a little bit at the start. Maybe they had 2, one flank. it's not uncommon for RTR to flank. You can actually get pretty close a lot of times to the Widow, and it becomes very scary for the Widow to defend.
And I want to give actually Divik a little bit of credit there because he actually played so far away when he saw the Genjis being played that it was really impossible to close that distance on him without actually being shot once or twice. And not to mention, with both McCree's on top of the gas station, it's like, how do we get to him with 2 flashbangs to follow as well?
Yeah, for sure. And, you know, holding that point at the top and dropping down, they did a really good job with IDDQD.
Does a double Genji smell of desperation to you there? Was there anything that really was behind the pick there for Creation at all, in your opinion?
They were trying to handle the Widow, apparently.
Right.
But unfortunately, they didn't actually go for the Widow when they picked double Genji. They went for the payload, which, you know, you don't have the damage output. You're going to lose to McCree's eventually, especially Wins. Wins, we don't talk a lot about him, but he was so just a key player in this game, just for how long he stayed alive and the amount of healing that he gave his team, because no one was dropping in the final moments.
Oh, are we seeing?
A lot of that.
This is something Nox has talked about before with the double soldier, double tracer, the Lucio, and the Symmetra.
You send your tracers behind, you turn their backs, you bring in the soldiers, normally to high ground. You can have them on cart as well. If you put them on cart, which is probably better, you send them on cart and they use the cart as cover. And then eventually when you want to fight, it's because your tracers are in position. So it's a really nice lineup, and with the Symmetra, it's very helpful. But it's on the McCree's, RTR and Bromas to shut this down. Well, they might not even come here. They're probably going to just drop.
And they do just that as well, on towards the payload it is. And they're a little bit scattered, but RTR and Bromas starting off pretty well, actually. These McCree's definitely making their presence felt. Onto the payload, it was a pretty quick wipe there. The Tracers were largely not in that first engagement. They were elsewhere trying to flank around, but they'll be cleaned up here as well. And Bromas, one shot to the dome is enough to deal with IDDQD there.
I think that was a good read by Creation, because obviously you could tell they knew something was going to happen.
Yeah, you want to defend forward, and they did it really, really well. They're probably not going to change Rogue Esports at the moment. They've got what they want, the position now. They've got someone on the cart, one of these soldiers, and another one will go around to the side and start moving into a high ground position and doing a lot of damage. And I think it's Tivik. And then if you drop, you're up against these tracers. And there you can see Tivik taking a position to the side, and they are actually now getting the kills, and this is where it can start falling apart for the defense. It's really on the res if Drakius can actually get into position, but I think he's actually just spawned, so they're going to keep on moving. And if they kill Artia with a bit of a delay like that, it's going to be even harder to defend. This looks like the first point should be getting taken just based off this momentum.
And that's all they need to win too.
Yep.
Just get that control point, you tie things up at 2 apiece.
And it could just be that as well. We saw IDDQD as well. They were able to, pour into this point in drips and drabs, just 2s and 3s. And it's actually been enough there as well. Cheeky little miss there on that one, and RT is actually going to be able to stay alive through it. Linkser knows he's got a heck of a lot on his plate right now and needs to chip in with these damage dealers and actually get these guys off the point. The attacking team already making so much progress. But for now, they've managed to quell the flow, at least push them back. We see reinforce. Actually, that Symmetra does have teleporter available here as well. See where he wants to put that one.
Yeah. Reinforce actually got the kill onto Drakius' Mercy, the last fight, but really the story was IDDQD didn't get to play his Tracer properly. Missed his ultimate and then just dropped, and really he should have been devastating to that fight.
Tvix there's going to be using their tactical visor as well. Plenty of targets here as well. Reflect coming in, it's going to prevent him from at least taking out that Genji, but now Tvix in a good side position to wreak some havoc and cause some problems. You can see that Lynx is having to get the heck out of dodge. Now challenging now that McCree. Bromas falls. Is it going to be enough? Who's going to be enough to deal with Tvix there? He just scoops up the health pack, keeps himself alive. Wait for the rest of his team, but in the meantime, the Tracers are wreaking havoc here over on towards the point. Pulse bombs available for IDDQD, but he may just not need it at this stage. He and Unco combining are causing a lot of problems here for Creation.
They're focusing targets down, just make it almost impossible for them to have a chance. And with them holding them off, not allow them to get back to the payload, this actually might have been enough. Artier's going to go down, and they can't pick it up that kill. Actually, might have just solidified their victory here. They're trying to keep Linkster off the payload. He will eventually get to him. He's going to fall immediately. The payload is still moving. It's 1 meter away. It's contested, and this is the final fight.
Bromas is trying to back away from it as well. Nox gets himself on there, and Numlox wastes no time in standing up on that payload, spreading a bit of damage across, of course, with that lightning cannon. But again, he's very low on health, needs to get airborne, but Tvik picks him up here as well. A constant pressure point, 17 meters to go. They need to get that Lucio off the payload. Looks like they've done it as well. They get that point in. Rogue draw it 2-2. It's tit for tat between these two teams. And what a strong performance backed up after, of course, an incredible defensive hold on the first point here for Rogue. They are now here to play.
Yeah, and that game, there's just so many constant chances that you're going to break when you bring in the tracers and the soldiers. So just for the first point alone, it's such a good lineup. Because it just gets so confusing. And if IDDQD played that little moment a little bit better when he had the pulse bomb, that would have been over. Yeah. And at the end, the unlucky part from, I would say, Creation Esports was unfortunately Numlocked had about 90% on his ultimate on Winston. Wanted to jump in the air to buy some more time, got picked up by Tavik, but had he actually had his ultimate, he would have been like, yo, what's up, get off the payload. They could have wiped him, and that would have been potentially, a position that they could start holding again, and they could have potentially won that game just based off having a Winston ulti, but wasn't to be.
We really had showcased, I think, the effectiveness of splitting your damage between two traces and two 76s in this game. Like you said, the whole point is to try and turn their heads with the traces in the backline. And you saw that Vic specifically was able to play off towards the side on that cliff edge and just not really be focused down that much. Lynx tried to deal with him, but he was able to spread so much damage over the fight.
Yeah, he really was. And I don't think that the Genji actually offers that much when you're playing against tracers and soldiers, because the time that you actually use to reflect, it's not like you're stopping anything big from happening against those, you don't reflect anything that's like overly crucial. Right. And outside of the reflect and of the Genji's ultimate, tracers defeat in a big way the Genji, and also soldiers most of the time can put constant damage down, which is where the Genji really suffers, because the Genji would love to just jump around and play all by himself without needing a healer, but because of the constant damage from the soldiers and the tracers, you need to constantly be aware of your health and get back to your team with the Lucio, if that's going to be the case, or the Mercy.
So would you rather have seen maybe double Monkey out of Creation to stop the double Tracer, double Soldier?
Double Soldier Rex Monkey, that's the problem.
Is there anything ideally in your head that you would like to have seen them change to, or do you think it was just kind of bad luck?
I'm not sure what I would have played against it.
Like Zarya? I don't know. I'm trying to think as well. I mean, they don't play close enough together to use the Zarya ultimate effectively.
I mean, you can't pick a Hog because the soldiers will destroy you, even though Hog is quite fun to play versus Tracers because there's a real fear factor for the Tracers. But Hog feeds people a lot of ultimates, and they already had their defensive Winston. And they had how many McCrees? It was one McCree, and Bromas was on Soldier.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess Zarya could have been a pick, but you can ignore the Zarya so easily on those that lineup, right? Soldier just goes nope, and Tracers go nope, you just like go okay, now we can fight you again.
Incredibly mobile comp, really.
I mean, because if the damage is slow versus the Tracers, with like Winston, the damage is slow, and also Zarya, if you don't charge the shield, the damage is slow versus Tracers, and that's where Tracers just become powerful because they can just rewind, right? So you're doing a slow amount of damage. Tracers like yo, peace. So I don't know what I would have changed outside of the Genji. I really don't. I mean, you could have just played a Widow and been like, see if this works, because there wasn't any shields outside of the Symmetra.
Sure.
But it would have been difficult. Why are you staring at me, AKM and IDDQD? Get back in your room. Get back in your room.
You're grounded.
You're grounded. That's right, AKM. Sad face to camera. Yeah,
I mean,
taking a small break
what
there.
What about Double Widow there?
Sorry, I was being stared down by
It's fine.
Rogue Esports.
They might not have liked something you said about them. Who knows? Does Double Widow play well into this like double soldier composition? I mean, is there any potential for that one to actually be able to control the soldiers flanking out towards the sides, or are you still threatened too heavily by the double tracer?
You're just threatened heavily by everything. But if you just put at least one Widow in, you might be able to, The trouble is you can't body shot and kill a tracer with a Symmetra.
Yeah.
I don't know what I picked. Maybe another McCree. Shot it. Just keep throwing McCrees in there. Everything will get better. There you go, Mitch.
More McCrees, less problems. Thank you. I was digging for something. I'm glad we got to the golden nugget of truth in the end there. Yeah. That's what we want here.
Well, we do have our next map, though. It's going to be Hollywood. Currently, the teams are tied at 2 apiece. It's a best-of-7 grand final between these two teams. Winner takes home $2,500. Now, Hollywood, we've seen some amazing plays out of both teams on this map. Do you have anything in mind we're going to particularly see out of Creation, maybe, or even Rogue?
We're probably going to see Junkrats at least on first point defense. Okay. That's very common. We'll probably see if they're going to want to attack. We have seen some Pharahs on the first point on attacking team. Zaryas are normally crucial there as well. Lynx, I think he plays sniper at least on attack. I don't think they do on defense for Creation.
Okay.
But this is the first point I feel is like more in tune with Creation when they attack it, because it's like, hey, we're in each other's, we're kind of somewhat adjacent to our teammates, and we kind of like that, we know what we're doing. And then the second point is, second point is just so difficult normally on defense if you lose the first point, unless you wipe them once, because otherwise you just keep on going on Hollywood. And then it's the last point that you can actually really cause problems on the defense. But the first point as well is where you want to shine. So Junkrats are normally a bit of a key here.
We've seen how effective they were as well as at just mitigating Reinhardt's ability to get close enough to the point to actually be able to set up a reasonably good charge, either against another Reinhardt or another priority target. Normally, by the time you're getting to the point, you're already kind of forced to do it, right? You don't have time to select your target and help the rest of your team shepherd them up towards the point because you have no shield. So it's like, I either go in or I back off and we do this all again. And the whole time, there's a Junkrat who's just pelting grenades at you as well.
And the good counter to Junkrat, of course, on defense on Hollywood, as we go now to Gibraltar, as they trolled us, is actually a Pharah. And it looks like the next map is actually going to be Gibraltar. Yeah. But if we probably will be going to Hollywood. So we remember that information, kids.
So
it's very useful. We're payload from here on out because we already got our King of the Hill map done.
Apparently Hollywood was banned, so I don't really know why they chose it. It's Numbani, Dorado, Gibraltar left. So, yeah, don't know about Hollywood. I think Creation weren't sure actually about what maps they did have removed from the pool.
Best of 7. It's a lot of maps.
So you've actually talked a lot about Gibraltar, and particularly when you're on the attack and the server room. Taking control of that gives you a lot of control in general of that first initial point. Do you think we're going to see anything tricky with an initial quick attack coming out of the side of Creation to stop and prevent Rogue from having an early start?
Not sure what Creation... The Creation are normally quite standard here. I'm more interested in what Rogue are going to do. So Creation, they're going to have Bromas on his soldier. This is kind of defend far back lineup and control that server room. And as you mentioned, how a Rogue, if they can attack, do they want to take the server room? Do they want to take high ground? Right. Last time that we've had a successful push here was really down to the Widowmaker on the attack. And Widowmaker is fantastic here on attack. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see Tivik on it or if we see AKM. But I think Tivik might play the Widow. If they don't, I'd be surprised. If they don't play the Widow, they're probably going to play something that will help the McCrees get into combat. But you really still have to worry about Bromas on his soldier. But you can negate that just by winning a Widow fight. And then hopefully with those 2 McCrees, you should be able to clean up the rest and get support from your own Widow. So yeah, they are going to play the Widow on Tivik.
We did see actually Gravitation Surge before run double Monkey. And on the high ground before, where you'd typically snipe in the back where Soon would be, right on the ledge store behind us now, they would put down the shields, in time after time to allow Soon to have free reign to actually continually spam away without the threat of him being hit.
Oh, we actually saw on the attacking side, Graviton Surge jumped up here with 2 Winstons and pressured through the server room through here as well. So there's definitely a few options available now as well. But let's get this one started. It's 2 apiece between these 2 teams. It has been neck and neck pretty much the entire game so far, even with Creation having that 1 map advantage. And it is Tivik going to be attacking with that Widowmaker. Let's see if we can break open a hole here in the hold of Creation.
And this is great for the attacking team because they have no one that can flank. So it really comes down to if Tick gets the kill, which he doesn't, that opens up the possibility. So now you're going to sit pretty comfortable here on the defensive side of Creation. You're like, yo, what's up? We've got the control. You've also just suicided randomly an AKM into us. Thank you for your offerings to the Creation Esport gods. Yeah, sorry, yeah, but it's at a Tivik, and if he's not doing, they obviously want to get the first point as well. But I'll shut up in a second. But if he gets the kill, that's when you can actually move. But it's on Bromas. Let's see if they can move on this.
Well, that was an important pick as well. That was probably the one we were waiting for. Obviously, last time Pick got picked up. So they have managed to push the payload up here. No server room holds for the defensive side. They're actually going for a standard hold in front of the doors. And Artia gets himself 2. So that's a darn good start here for Creation as he is just keeping this right room under control, at least for the most part. You can see that a lot of threat that he's generating. IDDQD even wanting to back up there as well. I think there's actually Bromas up behind them as well.
I like the way RT actually creates his own area, his own battleground to fight with, because he didn't stay too close to the doorway where he could be flashbang, and is constantly moving forward and backwards trying to lure each other in. And Bromas will eventually get the kill on Unco, eliminating any sort of second revive, but as we can see, he's only at 60% anyways. And Rogue are really struggling on this attack, trying to get around this elbow.
You could actually play 2 snipers on attack with the lineup they have and the position that they take. Lynx, just because you can take the server room. If they let you take the server room, you can use one of your snipers in there, and the McCrees are going to have a hard time. But yeah, we're going to have Recon Visor used by Lynx. Unfortunately, doesn't get the kill. And Recon Visor now not used by Tivik. He's at 80%. And we do have ulti available on Drakius on Creation, so they're probably going to play really far back, and he can almost res from behind the door.
Well, this is interesting. AKM just waiting. Eventually gets knocked.
Incoming res.
All right, so yeah, they're going to try to suicide each other, but they're actually picking up quite a few kills nonetheless. We're going to see Bromas coming from the side, popping. Tactical Visor picking up quite a few kills. There's a defensive revive, but Bromas doesn't catch it. Drakeus going to go down again. Artier is down. And even Nox is going to fall. So this is going to be a successful attack. And even Linkster going head-to-head against Tivik, but he's quickly just going to be disposed of. I was going to say, you're going to have to keep attacking to make them kill you.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I meant. You see the server room that Tivik got into? That's the room that you want to be in when you're fighting against McCree's. He even met Lynx in there randomly and forced him to pick up the health pack, but they did get the kill and they got the point. So already, I would say that's a pretty good start against the defensive lineup that they played against, that Creation are playing against. So I think they would be quite happy with that. And now we're going to have a switch onto another McCree, and Lynx is now going to be on a Monkey to try and play against Tivik.
And Creation couldn't actually set up on top of the shuttle here as well. They had to sit back and try and take it by force. So they now have gotten through, but it was a very, very quick push here for Rogue to try and press them back. And Tivik now as well, using some of the sound barrier as well. RT gets completely picked off, and there's been no chance for any presence to be established on top.
Case, like I said, Tigger has no res at all, no chance to really kind of make anything happen. He falls anyways. He'd be taken down by AKM with the Deadeye. This payload, do not tell me they're going to get fully clear of the shuttle room without being stopped once. They have to put up a defense.
There's no pressure on Tivik. I mean, they had the Winston, if I was correct, but now he's back onto the Widow. And if he didn't use the Winston properly, that's why they're here at your doors. So only themselves to blame, unfortunately.
IDDQD as well. You can see the McCree's on the side of Rogue doing a heck of a lot of work. IDDQD is Deadeye ready, but he's just going to back away from this one. He's right behind, so he can come back in whenever he chooses to. He's ninth and healthy. We heard an Earth Shatter being used here, but IDDQD, he's in a great spot to really interrupt this one. The right click comes in. RNG gods this time shine upon our friend. And Bromas is also going to fall.
That's what you wanted to see as well, James. Him to be really aggressive, right-clicking away, being able to deal with him. Linkster's going to fall in. This is just a slow but steady snowball going from the payload's going to be really far behind, so it's not like the game will be over anytime soon. But RTR is the only ultimate up currently, and you can see Drakeus, he's going to have it anytime soon.
I swear Lynx doesn't know what he wants to play. He's gone from Widow to Winston to Genji, back to Widow, and I think somewhere in between it was Widow and Genji again, but the Genji wasn't going to work, so he's correct for going on the Widow, but this is, he can't really, I don't think he should be playing outside, not with the shield. I think he needs to play with the shield, but they're going to go aggressive, and this is where Tivik can shine. But actually, it's going to be Lynx that starts the kills off on his team with RTR.
Yeah, he took a hit from Lynx earlier on there as well, so Tivik couldn't really just peek out and try and continue that fight. And Numlocked as well, staking his claim on that payload. A little bit of aggression there as well is what we need to see from defensive teams when the going gets tough. Just get that Lucio to speed your team up, go and try and take the attacking team off guard, or before they've set up, or while they're going around a corner, when they can't even see each other properly now.
Numlock actually does have the advantage on his ultimate. If he can maybe get a swing or two off, maybe a charge, this could be very good for them. His shield is actually be up, but it's going to be taken down as AKM is able to get the kill onto Linkster, and Numlock's just trying to turn around for reinforcements. Just gone a little bit too deep, a little bit too ham. You guys forced to use that revive to get his teammate back alive, but AKM and IDDQD trying to pair together, pick up kills left and right.
Just around the corner he was standing as well. He was just outside of the arc of that one. And, well, Lynx, when he finally settles on something, it seems to work out. He also gets himself a bit of a recon visor.
Unco.
Yeah, Unco doesn't want to be here for this at all. Don't cover your eyes, kids. No, he actually manages to get away.
Yeah, so the way that they're playing, just so back and forth, and really in terms of what's important is Link staying alive. Like him being alive, getting those kills is fantastic. AKM's been playing great on his McCree. We don't have any ultimates available on both the Mercies, and I feel that that's what they're really going to need on Rogue Esports to break the corner here.
Sound barrier being used there as well to start the spot up, and Lynx take a little bit of damage. Tivik all over this one, like moss on a rock, and Lynx is going to have to stick around a corner and try and stay alive, but Tivik now really showing up, and that's essentially looks like the wipe here, and the attacking team should be able to push forward comfortably enough. Deadeye being used to zone.
That's it.
That's going to be that.
Just don't think there's a way to get in here.
Yeah. 5 minutes, was it 5 minutes, 10 seconds I think they finished with, which is a damn fast time at Gibraltar.
Really, really good. Yeah, again, even if he wasn't killing Lynx, Tivik, having him pinned there is huge because you've got your two McCrees and then it's the McCree versus McCree war. And AKM, man, that guy's stepping up his game, something chronic on his McCree, and he hasn't played it the whole tournament until the grand finals.
And even IDDQD, I have to give him credit a little bit too, because he got really aggressive, really in their face where he's not as comfortable as he normally is at medium range, and was able to catch RT and Bromas off constantly.
And actually, the part when he was outside the shuttle door, I was kind of like, what's he waiting for? And I realized his team was dying, and he was actually waiting for Unco to time a res. So he came back in on the res of Unko. So then because if he went in there, he would have been like, I'm pretty useless and maybe out of position for a res. So really nice play by IDDQD as well.
Can we talk about the shuttle phase as well of that defense there for Creation? Because it looked a bit strange for them. We didn't see this ridiculous aggression like maybe Graviton Surge showed and actually forcing back, but Creation never managed to establish any of this sort of height advantage. They never even bothered to try and get up on top of the shuttle. Of course, they might not have had the comp for it, but seemed like they had some time to try and establish something in there, but they didn't really actually take the opportunity to set up.
Yeah, mainly again though it came down to Lynx changing his hero pick, not challenging the Widow helping them get through, and then the McCree's winning their fights with any additional damage and contribution from the Widow. And when you switch on to Genji and you come into the shuttle room for the first time and you don't have ultimate, you're going to have to, play pretty damn well to keep dodging a Widowmaker, and at the same time, putting damage onto the McCree's. But I don't remember how long he actually stayed on Genji for. I think he might have switched onto it and then switched off it before he even ran out the gate, but his Winston didn't offer much either, unfortunately.
Do you think his sporadic changing was kind of like we need an answer for Tvik now, and the whole team not really coming up with a good answer?
You need 2 people to answer, though. You need 2 people to answer, in my opinion, to Tvik. The only way you kill Tvik with just a monkey if the Mercy is unaware that your Widowmaker needs help. But Unko, he was actually boosting a lot of the time Tvik, because then you can boost somebody that's useful, and if your team needs you, you can just dive in and start healing them and also res them. This is the strat that we've seen before, which is pretty much we want to play King of the Hill outside your front doors. And if Bromas is coming out with a Bastion, which again could be a Zarya, surprise Zarya. It was a trick, Zarya. A trap, sorry.
Let's see how this one goes. Bromas, he's trying to play that Bastion. It's going to be very dangerous for him and for the opponents. Depends on reinforced Tvik both put their shields down. And they're even waiting this one. The Hanzo being picked up just for sight alone, and Lynx are going to switch back knowing they're not to the right. But now he's on the high ground. What a shot on Unko. Shuts him down immediately here, not allowing him to build up any ultimate charge. Eventually he'll be forced back and fall, but not before taking 2 people down.
Without AKM, IDDQD has to play these Tracer duties on his own, just trying to keep himself out of that fight as well. Double Monkey as well for the defending side. They want to brawl this out, and so far it's working out pretty well. Bromas already fell down there. He was leapt upon by these Tracers, and IDDQD just wanted to get behind Numlocked and get the extra damage across. He actually even avoids getting taken by Artia, gets him low as to revive. Almost fell off, revive, recall. Don't know what it was. He almost
We've been casting a lot of Overwatch. I'm sometimes as well losing all my words from today, but yeah, so far they've really delayed them, and that's all they're really playing for. There is 6 minutes they have to take this map, so it's definitely worth the tactic that they did, which is throw yourselves at them, see what you can do. Admittedly, IDDQD there, I felt carried a little bit of his team on his Tracer until Lynxer decided to make some shots actually happen outside of the initial Mercy kill. And now they're going to switch up. They're going to go the Soldier, the double McCree, and they're going to be playing for the high ground. Lynx already in position, but they've gone out with the whole team. So they're in position. Lynx not that useful, and if they drop, maybe Lynx won't get a chance to get enough DPS off to actually stop this. But so far, the first 2 kills come in from the team of Creation. And it's looking pretty good.
Yeah, he's able to get the vision as well, trying to get down to Vic, and he'll follow with the headshot. He's going to drop straight into him, trying to force him back around the corner. The payload has crossed the line. And I wanted to ask you, James, do you think the investment of a minute of extra time they did accumulate is worth it when you lose all your ult percent because you have to switch back heroes?
Maybe not just because of how well Lynx has played going into that room and the first 2 kills being on their favor, but you can never predict that, right? You're just like, okay, but you have to imagine they probably didn't expect Lynx to hit that many shots in the opening room. He was hitting Tracers by the end of the fight, and he used his ultimate in a really good timing. So right now, Lynx absolutely being a star for his team, but there is going to be a monkey on defense, and this is a huge hero for the defensive team if they can keep him alive. And look at this, Lynx finally getting some revenge onto Tvik.
We'll have to be back to AKM as well. We talked about the monkeys here on this side, and AKM has played him brilliantly all weekend again. Look at him just backing up his team. And just the threat that he generates on his own is pretty intense. He goes and just takes Bromas down. He was low health, probably lingering a little bit too close to that fight.
And with that wipe, they get on the high ground like they wanted to. ROG being pushed back from that first point being wiped out. They didn't have the opportunity to get on top of the shuttle, but the entire enemy team, or the entire team of Rogue, is looking to play for the position again. We're looking for Tvik, like you said, James, trying to actually force them back with the damage from the shield being amped out of his own Mercy. But they've actually backed off. They dropped already.
We almost had that Lucio there as well. I think it was Wins who had just to duck around the corner, quickly realizing that he was visible. Bromas going to be channeling his Deadeye there as well. Never get sick of that sound, ladies and gentlemen.
I do.
Another fight's going to be happening. Earthshatter actually happening inside the shuttle from what I can see. And IDDQD with Tavik how to deal with that threat. And now he has his tactical visor ready, being careful, of course, of the Widow that he feels is off to his left. And now just challenging down RTR as well. AKM continuing to be such a threat as well. Tavik just adding the extra damage like icing on a cake.
Yeah. High Noons aren't going to be able to get you kills when the team's on top of the shuttle and drops really nicely. And Lynx hasn't been able to offer much because they're not putting pressure on AKM. The thing about the Winston in this room is he doesn't have to be caught out he really doesn't need to be caught out. He's already got high ground. He can jump on the Widow if he feels the Widow is alone, and he doesn't need to fight with his team necessarily. But so far, actually, RTR is going to be able to take him out. Lynx is going to collect two, but most importantly, he's going to pick up the Mercy. There was actually a res thrown. AKM was res before, the Mercy died. So there is a chance for defense here, and Tivik making it work.
But basically, there's only 2 minutes left to work with, so if Rogue just hold on for a couple of extra seconds here, it comes down to that final point, and it looks like they've been able to actually force them back. We do have Dracase with ultimate available, but I don't think he's anywhere even near this fight to pull off a major res. So now, Rogue, they're looking at this. 2 minutes to go. If they can just hold on to this, they'll take the map lead, and they'll be 1 map away from securing the entire victory here, the grand finals of the TakeOver at Take TV.
I think they're super confident as well, because Unco actually just rezzing 2 people made them actually hold that, so really well played by Unco. And they're going to jump up top with 2 monkeys.
They're going to try and address this problem with Lynx having switched now over towards the Genji. No more Widow for him as he needs to just get his hands dirty with this fight. So far, it's generally worked for what we've seen in the past, and even Bromas on the monkey doing some serious work. Lynx there just having to back away from the edge and just be prepared to reflect something in case it was going to be coming, but no, IDDQD is dealt with. Bromas on the monkey causing issues, and Lynx are combining with him nicely.
Oh, this is a good delay, though. I mean, yeah, AKM's not going to accomplish much, but he's delaying for an extra, 2, 10, 15 seconds, and his team is entirely coming back in to help defend this.
Uses it. How many did he get? I think he got, yeah. It still might be enough with AKM there.
Yeah, Reinforcement's been able to actually come back and help out. What a reflect as well by Lynxer. That was around IDDQD, but they're just delaying as much time as they possibly can. They know they don't need to hold them off completely. Just win in the time game, and you've got this lead.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be the case. Lynxor, though, is showing us why he's not only a great Widow player, but also great on his Genji. He's been picking up a pretty decent amount of kills in all the fights that they've had, but it's just taking too long. That's one of the problems with Genji, is you don't put out a huge amount of damage, and we will have a hold, and that's going to be pretty much a GG. There is, of course, another 30 seconds to go, but it's not possible. And Unco on his Mercy, that res a little bit earlier, yes, definitely secured them the game. And you have to consider that even if you win with the double monkey and Genji, you're actually going to have to switch off your monkeys and Genjis going into the ramp, the next area, which means that you're going to lose all your ultimate that you built when actually winning that fight. So even if they won that fight, the chances are they would have had to switch, and they would have gone up against, defensive ultimates like Tivik on his soldier, and it would have been in their favor. So, we've got some time that's going to be dropped here before we call GG and Road Esports, and the really annoying 2-meter Reinhardt there that I actually have to live with is getting cockier and cockier by the second. So I really hope Christian bring this one back.
Well, I mean, they're looking like a different team to what we saw early on today, guys. Really, I mean, especially in these maps. Not only are they looking a little bit more animated.
God, Nox looks animated. Look at him. He is like... But, I mean, in all fairness, mate, this is kind of on you. You're the comp strat caller.
The thing is, he's called their strats as well. During the last cast we just did, the match prior, Garrett and Surgeon Rogue, he knew exactly the Route 66 strat they'd be going for, the double tracer, double soldier, and yet they weren't really able to counter it. It's like, yeah, you know it's coming, but when it comes to just aiming them, or out-aiming them, they're not able to.
Here's a couple of replays for you guys anyway.
Well, that was sick.
Starting off with Lynxer as well, shutting down Tavik, which kind of got done to him in the King's Row first up, so Karma goes around, comes around.
Getting the kill here as well was really nice.
The shield
I don't know
just
how.
broke. The shield, did he break the shield with that first shot?
With the first shot, potentially. Who knows? We'll assume yes to sound smart.
That shot, though, that flick, really showing Tavik, I guess, his mastery of... I mean, he's pretty much shown mastery of every hero so far. He's really lived up to the flex role, right? He's been playing Winston, he's been playing Genji, he's been playing Junkrat, he's been playing Widowmaker, McCree, Tracer, you name it. He's basically been playing it so far. Even Zarya in there, too, that I missed out on.
Look at this. Gets pinned, and his whole team is dying right now. And then he even gets taken out by Tavik. So, yeah,
Well, this is him as well on the start of
Yeah,
the second half.
this was really quite important. Just having the ultimate here to get through the first point. That was huge for Lynx. Look at the excitement.
Well, they're on the precipice of victory here. Let's be honest here. It's 3-2, so another one more, and that's a game.
It's actually kind of like, in terms of momentum, it's what, 3-1?
Yes.
Because they came in with a map advantage.
It's only the King of the Hill map that
they lost.
They dropped
They've won every single payload, and they even held first point on Route 66.
And this is why it looks universes away from what their performance was earlier on today. This is just a lot more solid as well. They said, yeah, we kind of got outstraddled on some maps. Dorado is going to be the next map as well, which is actually one we did see Rogue struggle with quite a lot, of course. They were held to the first point on the attacking side by Graviton Surge. So, but still, it looks like a different team. It's a different mindset. It's a different approach. And it's definitely a different scoreline to what we would have expected if we went off what we saw last time these two went head-to-head.
We did see...
And Croatian didn't expect this either. Yeah. They were feeling real confident. I think they said, I think they spoke to you a little bit, Mitch, before the game downstairs, and they seemed confident, at least from...
absolutely. I was talking to Numlock as well. It's like, yeah, I mean, they might get a map, but we've got this in the bag, you know what I mean? And I think Numlock was quietly confident as well, but he is a fairly experienced player as well, and he surely must be thinking about the mind games aspect, of the emotional aspect of how that can take a team apart. But he was very cavalier in general about Creation Esports. I suppose for them it's a comeuppance because they had something to prove coming into this one. Everyone was like, Rogue's going to beat them and they're going to beat them again in the final. And so, any one of the casters said to Nox outside, it's like, you're probably going to lose to Rogue in the next game. Nox is like, yeah, just tune in and check it out because we're bringing the thunder.
Well, there's always a chance for a comeback. You just need to get one map, and that could actually settle all the nerves, or even just have a really good first half on the map.
Yeah,
so, Dorado, the first point isn't easy to take. We've seen Rogue do tactics where they kind of throw up a couple of Widows actually on the high ground to break it. So far, they've got just Tivik on the Widow, and they're going to be playing the two McCrees. On the defense, you've got your standard Junkrat there with your McCree, which are the bulk of your damage, apart from, of course, Lynx, which will be covering from currently behind the shield, but he might back off. But this is still, again, quite scary for Lynx. Gets picked off by Tivik. If Tivik wants to flank rather than just play, instead of playing just in their face, that could be huge. And they don't have any information on Tivik, and they're going really aggressive here with their Reinhardt.
Yeah,
he doesn't go down, but he is now finally getting healed. And Tivik is actually going to pick up Lynx. Finally shows himself. Where was he? He was just on the high ground, and already that's going to really give Tivik a huge amount of room to work with. Goes for the looking cool move. Doesn't look so cool. Comes back down to earth. I do that too.
He got a shot from the ground originally. Then you think when you went up to the high ground and actually finish him off, and Bromas gets two quick kills. They're investing the revive into this though, and Nomox's already able to pick up the kill on IDDQD. It just comes down to what's going to happen after, and Bromas, he's just going to continue to lock them away. Yes, Tivik will kill Linksor again and get in his head, but I think Linksor can be happy about it because the rest of his team had shut them down and held this point.
I'm not sure why they really wanted to go into that room to challenge the Junkrat. They should have actually just boosted up and gone around to their left and just let Tivik kind of cover the Junkrat and also try and get the kill on the McCree. Had they have done that, there was still no links. That could have been a first point take. Not going to happen. Bromas going to throw out the Riptire. Going to buy his team some time. Tivik actually might die to it. Nope, does get the kill.
Yeah, and important there as well, because that really would have stunted any progress for Rogue now as well. He does get the tag actually on his opposite number there. Link's going to be feeling that one slightly, but it wasn't enough, of course, to be lethal. And now we're going to see Tivik just with his boots on the ground. He definitely looking towards that statue, but we've already seen Link's abscond just behind some of these stalls here for a moment. We might see a high ground push on the attacking side, though.
And we've got two reses available. Unco's probably sometimes the more important. You can actually try and go in and get a kill, and you can leave your Mercy behind and just dive in. Oh. There's a lot of places to hide here, so they're going to want to go aggressive, and it really comes down to the Mercies here.
That's a great combo work out of the flashbang and the air coming in, but there's the revive out of Chakez to get his teammates back up. Bromas going to come in from the side to help clean up one, but IDDQD is going off. He picks up 3 kills. Tivik secure the kill on Nomox as well. This might be the point finally being taken for Rogue.
Yeah, and really that's what they wanted to do the first time they picked up Lynx. They should have gone in through the left-hand side, or at least speed boosted at the middle to the left, make that Junkrat a lot less useful, and play around your Mercy res. Both of them res nicely, but it was really the momentum and getting the first res and allowing for positioning for Rogue Esports. And Tivik again picking up some kills. IDDQD going to go for a bit of a flank. The recon visor is up. Grappling hook unsuccessful here, but he is still up against, I'd imagine, Lynx's Widow. and they're going to have to play a lot safer here with Lynx. It's very scary if you just lose your Widow here, and you're still up against an enemy Widow, especially with just the one McCree. And they still have a Junkrat. This is insane. Why do they have a Junkrat?
Probably the Riptire. This is what they're going to try and make use of here. Let's see if it works out. He gets at least on towards IDDQD, sitting up on the top side, but that's about it for this point. Vic has to be careful. He was hit by a fire strike earlier from up above before. Now we're going to see that we're going to see the sound barrier coming in, should I say. Mercy wants to be targeted here by Vic, but he can't quite connect onto it. And the defense don't have a heck of a lot of fighting to do now. They've shoved off the point. It's actually a good, decent disengage here, actually, from Rogue.
Well, IDQD's there trying to pick up the Mercy. Studies going to get Linkster for his troubles. The revive come back through, and now he's going to be up against Linkster, who's going to try to maybe grappling hook away from this position, but he misses it. He's force bound on the low ground where Reinforce is already waiting, and he's going to follow to Vic, ready to pick him off.
We saw Bromas as well go down again over that area as well. He's just going to drop here. So yeah, still sticking with that Junkrat.
No, he's going to switch it. It's insane if he thinks this is going to work and keep it. When he respawns, I expect it to be something else. There we go, Soldier. And actually having the Junkrat there there's no reason for it. And Bromas has done that a couple of times, but now it's given Rogue a little bit more momentum.
AKM there as well, channeling that Deadeye. Tough to get kills with this one as well. He just pulled it a little bit too late, but IDDQD is going to be doing work for him there as well. It's going to be a stun grenade into the airborne Reinhardt as he comes down, and AKM continuing just to sweep the groundwork here.
That was such a big kill too, because Nelmaki had his Earth Shatter available, but he flashbangs him in the air, finishes him off with the Fan of the Hammer, and there's no chance for them to even contest that point. They will be pushing this further. And Rogue, keep in mind guys, all they need to do is win this map, and they've won the whole thing.
Yeah, and of course this is the first half, so the time that they set could really put on some pressure onto Creation. And we're still going to see the Widows here. And actually, Bromas now going to switch on to a Reaper. Not sure how useful that's really going to be, but we'll find out.
I think he did this a little bit earlier on.
Well, they're playing quite slow with the McCrees. They don't have to play super fast. So Reaper wants people to play super fast, and if he jumps in now, it doesn't make something happen. This could be real bad, and yet he actually gets taken out. But Linksaw did take out Tavik, and that allows a little bit of room for Artia, who's going to pick up a kill on AKM. Reinforce is going to get the pick, and there was a res, I believe.
Yeah, it was the defensive side res. Yeah, both got it up there. Reinforce actually just trying to avoid having his teammates killed there as well, but he wasn't able to deal with Numlock before that swinging hammer actually took down, I believe it was IDDQD who was trying to work in from the backside. So now holding on this payload, you can see up above, it's going to be Drakius just trying to keep that healing going as he has been. AKM does have an ultimate ready, and the right click working out nicely. He'd like to pick off Drakius here with this one, but he's keeping himself well and truly behind. But it'll be the flashbang in towards Bromas, who is still maintaining this Reaper play even after getting shut down just before.
So Tivik's going to move on to the Pharah. Still up against the Sniper. As long as they can get a good speed boost, Pharahs are amazing in this final room, but AKM actually going to get picked up by Lynx. OT was recently used. So they're going to want to wait for him. There's no reason to go in. You just want to set a time and, well, Lynx is, yeah. Lynx is like, yeah, you should have taken that advice. You shouldn't come in here until you're a whole team, and actually gets a kill onto Pharah. Now they've seen the Pharah, and that means a switch, but they can always check the scoreboard. Going to see Nazaria, so they're playing for the payload, but now Bromas actually becomes really useful when you're fighting on the payload. So Bromas is really a key player, and he's close to ulti, so it'll be interesting to see how he defends here.
Deadeye being channeled elsewhere as well. We'll have to see what the fighting does actually look like when push comes to shove on the payload. Vic now just going to be giving shields to his teammates. Look at his charge, they cannon up. He's ready to go, but Lynx is still causing problems here from the ground side, and he's not even really being tested at all at this stage. Bromas now actually having a bit of fun finally, as we did say he'd have a bit more luck fighting on the payload. Drops eventually, but this thing ain't moving that far, boys. In fact, it's moving in the wrong direction. It's another hold for Creation Esports.
Well, I mean, Unka lost his life in the beginning of that round, or at the beginning of that fight. I think Linkster picked him off, and he got caught out just for he really shouldn't have been. But they got 3 big ultimates up. They got the Sound Barrier, they got the Deadeye, they got the Resurrection. Yeah. But Linkster again pushed up really aggressively, looking for that early pick.
I think they should switch out the Zarya for a Soldier and actually go in top. I think the Zarya is okay if you want to go in top, but I think if you had a Soldier and you just pushed them off the top, you could actually make it really hard for Linkster to be overly useful, and Bromas is not always going to be in position, but there's going to be the first kill, and they are going to go in for the top at least, so and the Zarya is somewhat working out for him.
Well, look at this mess in this room as well. Reinforce and Co. all knocked down by Numlock, but there was no one there to help the poor Brit, and now they're going to be pressing forward up on this upper platform. Nox actually gets towards AKM, and Reinforce now is still swinging away. A couple deaths on the defensive side means at least there's a bit of progress that can be made by the attacking team. You're going to see Rogue press up a little bit closer here. 2 minutes 23, that's all they have left to get this one up the hill. So this next fight will be crucial. Bromas and AKM, the only ones with ultimates.
And Unco is actually, and Dracaeus are both very close to popping their ultimates, or having their resurrections available. Bromas going straight in by himself. He has a Wraith Walk to get away if he does need it, but he's trying to push them out of this building, trying to delay it as long as he possibly can, and they have successfully repelled Rogue yet again.
He actually wants to go up into this corner, which was already spotted out in there as well. So that's a bit interesting. Obviously, IDDQD pre-flashed that one and pretty much nailed Bromas, but the man has, of course, got that ultimate ready. Death Blossom is going to be nasty if he can get himself in the right position.
So I just want to point out, there's only 1 minute 40 for them to actually finish this map. Not finishing maps on payload is just painful because you expect all pro teams to really finish maps because it is slightly an advantage. They come out top and Bromas going to take down the majority of the team. There is going to be a res, but he also now gets the Mercy, which means that Dracaeus has his res available, and Lynx picking up such great positions here the whole time on his Widowmaker. I feel like they need to change. Unfortunately, this is the problem they're going to have. They've got Tivik now with ultimate, so he's going to be like, I'm going to stay on this, but they need to change out one of the McCrees to something that flanks and actually just chases down the Widow, because the Widow's not playing with any support. It's playing really just kind of flanky. So take out one of the McCrees and put someone on a Genji, and then you can just chase Lynx here. Or you can even go Monkey. You can play around one Reaper as long as, because you can jump over the middle of this room. Right. You don't necessarily have to have a Reaper on you. But they're not handling Lynx at all.
Well, Lynx are just being forced to back away, at least for the moment, but he can always come back around the other side if he needs to. That's the Graviton Surge coming out there. Nox and RTA recording a reinforced waste no time. Charging in. Dracaeus, when's he going to come down? He's pretty much ready now. He wants to try and keep himself alive. 4, I think he's pretty happy with that one, and now Creation can stay on their feet and go for the second fight.
The Deadeye comes in though. IDQD picks up the kill on Bromas, gets a second on a Numlocked, and they're going to continue this push through to Vic. He's got no Graviton Surge available anymore, but he's able to be there to help support each other, and they're actually picking up quite a few of these kills. Lynx just switched over to Genji to try to deal with them up close and personal, but he has no Dragon Blade. Even Bromas switching over to Basu, just trying to lay past, or as long as they possibly can. Lynx are jumping on top of the payload, and look at this, Bromas to the side. He's being charged down by Reinforce, not given an opportunity to even do anything, and now Lynx are pretty much by himself, has to do anything he can, but he'll fall, and this looks like it might be Rogue finishing the map.
Oh man, the shield was so sick on the Reinforce as well. Allowed him to get the charge off, and now they've got to deal with maybe a wave here. There is someone on the payload keeping it contested right now. It is a Tracer as well. So Bromas, RTA, and Numlock, 3 Tracers coming out here for Creation. They're trying to keep this one going, and they will be able to do it for a little while. It's all about stretching out the time as long as possible if they can. We are going to see those Tracers slowly start to fall away. Even the Lucio trying to get involved there, but it's not going to be enough. And eventually, and when I say eventually, I mean eventually, Rogue get across the line. No Johnny standing up and yelling this time. They know that if they didn't finish, that's a cardinal sin on payload maps.
I don't think they're happy with how they finish off the map. And even though Tivik, I said I would really want him to swap, and he plays an amazing Genji, and I suggested that they could swap one of the McCrees, but Tivik could have gone Genji. He could have gone something to chase down Lynx, but they didn't. And then a big moment that actually got him the win when I was like, I would love him to swap from the Zarya over to something else, but he has the ultimate. He uses the ultimate, and we're like, okay, we see everyone's going to die, but there's going to be a res. What really happened was that, we kind of talk about things comboing. We're like, normally the Zarya ultimate combos with like a Hanzo or whatever. So the res, IDDQD, really smart. As soon as he knew that there was a res coming in, I don't think he knew he could kill the Mercy from the range he was. He just went straight into a Deadeye High Noon and then killed 2 people off the bat, and one of them was crucial to kill, which was the Reaper, and that allowed him to start getting that momentum. So kind of nice finish. The time was, I wasn't sure on that one. We'll see it in just a moment as we go into the second half. But I do believe that
10:34.
Yeah, 10:34. They're going to be pretty confident that they can beat this, but Dorado is an amazing map to defend on. If you're just, really good at aiming. It's so difficult. There's me, sat on top of... What am I sat on? You have to sit me on something. That was apparently not on purpose.
No, I think that was from you on the couch earlier.
Production are also tired.
But one thing we have seen, at least that favors Rogue on this map, we've seen Rogue be very damn good at defending when they're on high grounds, when they have the option to choose to drop. Like, for instance, on Watch by Gibraltar, you get on top of the shuttle, that's where they really start to overpower some teams. And when we get into the second phase, if we do get into the second phase of this map, is where they can be really impactful and really build up a lot of extra time on their side.
So, lineup here on the defense, we're going to see a Symmetra. Not particularly keen on this hero at the moment in the current meta.
With No Mercy?
Yeah, No Mercy, again, not very keen on. The Junkrat slightly countered potentially by the fact that there is a Pharah, in the sense that the Junkrat won't do much to the Pharah. So it's very much heavily on AKM, but they aren't playing an aggressive, an attacking Widowmaker. So maybe AKM can make a big difference. One defend though, and a teleporter is maybe all they need, and that might tilt him a little bit and buy him a lot of time. But I think there's a lot on AKM, and he hasn't played Widow for the majority of this match. But I like the fact they put a sentry to the left of him, so we can see if someone's coming around the back. So Link's impact versus AKM's impact, it feels like, this match.
Well, we're going to see what that Junkrat looks like in the early stages as well. Like you said, not much interaction really between...
Watch the Pharah. The Pharah's coming around the back, I'm sure. Yeah.
He's going to have, yeah, like I said, a lot of those turrets in the
Here we
meta
go.
lines, and not to mention Tvik spamming away, but he's able to get AKM out of that high ground position. Linkster is able to get the control in the fountain, forcing now Rogue to fight on two different fronts, but he gets flashbanged up by IDDQD, and the defense is held. That's 5 men now down. Bromas is the last one remaining, and that teleporter, unfortunately, for Rogue is not up just yet. Only Unco at 60%, but he might be able to get it down in the midst of this next fight.
It's one of the best things when you're defending on this point is there's a lot of credit that goes to the Junkrat and the other members of the team, but actually it's more the Lucio. If the Lucio gets correct timing on speed boost and you use it properly, you can make anyone safe from a lot of flankers, whether it's a Pharah, whether it's a Winston. So great play there by Wins and his team obviously for using that speed, and the Junkrat for making it very difficult for the payload attacking team of Creation to get in. So far a little bit of a hard time. And do we have the teleporter
It's
down? No, we don't.
in a second.
96%, so it could tick up. There will be a TP down soon.
That's 3 ultimates coming up, and
Yeah.
they use AKMs right away, just a spot where they're going to be coming from. The teleporter, it needs to go down, so Unco's going to have to run back to stay alive, but Tvik in the prime position actually uses Riptide. They're all going right past him here, and he's just going to hammer them from the backside.
Oh, Lynx gets AKM. But yeah, they've lost their payload team.
Well, that's not ideal there. Lynx and Number do get kills for themselves. Bromas going down, though, not ideal. Still, IDDQD and Reinforce have to come back in. Remember that teleport's down, right? So, yeah, we did see a couple casualties being sustained on the side of Rogue, but they can just replenish them after 10 seconds. They're back and ready to fight.
Kind of surprised that actually Lynx got the kill on AKM. It's very hard to remove AKM on this map. So wouldn't be surprised if this one's going to be
Barrage,
unsuccessful
Graviton
as well.
surge together.
They're
I think
playing
trying to
around
go-
the res.
They're trying to go for the combo here. Linkster is going to actually use the barrage, but he gets taken by
And here comes
IDQD
the
from the
res.
backside. That was the Deadeye coming through. The res, like you
gets
said,
it.
flying back in. But really, they're pretty much by themselves in a really bad position. IDQD can be rushed down by Hart here, and Bromas, the other AKM, he's hit one of the shots, but he needs to hit a little bit more than this if they want to maintain this position.
An AKM there, in order to go for that little jump up, means he actually can't return to the top of that little bridge or on top of the door for a little while now. So you can see the Wins purely just trying to buy some time here and actually doing a pretty good job of it. They're only just going down now, and the teleporter was destroyed. Vic going straight back in towards his fight as well. It's a sound barrier they're being used for the attacking team. It looks like Creation are willing to spare no expense to try.
Map here, basically all out.
Yeah, so 3 minutes to get past the first point. I think that was really nice by Creation Esports. They had Lynx's ultimate available. They used it, they got some kills, but they played around the res. Had AKM actually been sniping or zooming a little bit earlier, the shot that he hit could have been a direct kill, but he sniped a little bit late and the res came in. But, so nicely done, Creation. They're on track to win this map right now, I would say.
Good positioning by them too on top of that balcony to knock them off with the help of Linkster, but it just might have been the downfall of this fight for them. Bromas is actually up towards his top side, able to just spam and assault away as much as he possibly can. No kills really coming through for him just yet as AKM and IDQD pair up together to get 2 kills, or 3 kills in total.
He's kind of the only guy up on the high ground doing damage there. Obviously, you did see Lynx go down and the rest of the attacking force was limited. So Bromas can't do much more. Try and spread some damage, which is normally going to be residually healed up by Lucio or even a Mercy anyway, so couldn't do much at all really from that spot.
So this is interesting in the sense that the lineups have changed. Linksaw actually wanted to go onto the Sniper. He's changed now to the Reaper. That's because there's a Monkey involved. So they should have actually, in my opinion, the defensive team, Rogue Esports, held their advantage on the high ground for a lot longer, but they wanted to jump down. Yeah, at least they have Tivik on the high ground, and this should be a really big factor. And there comes a really nice res, and Tivik is going to pick up a huge amount of kills, and they're going to want to go high ground. The problem with this Reaper, even though there's a monkey, it's like it cannot get position. It would have been better maybe to play the Widow because you don't have an enemy Widow. Sure, you have a monkey to play against, but is it really that big of a deal if the monkey has to dive into your team? Isn't that kind of what you want when you've got really strong McCree players? So they're going to play, on the payload. They want the monkey to drop down, but Tivik shouldn't drop, and he's just going to be such a big factor. I don't feel this attack would necessarily work.
Well, he's chasing straight for him. He's got the Death Blossom up as well, but not gonna be going for anytime soon. He really hasn't been too effective because he had the Primal Rage pop, so AC forced that ultimate, yes, but he gets knocked away during his ultimate, and Reinforce is even gonna block the majority of it. The rest of his team is still actually alive as Bromos is able to pick up 1 kill on Tivik, but the fight's not over because here's the revive.
Yes, it's gonna come back on in as well. Not EDQ, he's the first one to fall down there, but
Tivik's still out there.
High ground.
Just still out there.
It's important as well. You can see the attacking team forced to be pressure away. That's the 3-man res coming in there. But here comes the ult just to follow it up. There's not going to be much of shielded. Tivik's just going to rain hell down on these guys right now. He's eventually going to get charged in. Great answer from Numlocked. It had to happen. Otherwise, that would have been that point pretty well taken.
Yeah, that was actually pretty lucky. The res coming in was obviously great. That was fantastic, but pretty lucky to take him out. Not sure if he would have continued getting more kills than maybe just the knocks on the Lucio. But to get through that point, considering their lineup, that was challenging. That took him a lot of time. They were at 3 minutes past the first point. It took him another 3 minutes to get the second point. And the second point is normally quite easy, and there's still a chance for them to defend. Artia, though, will pick up Unko, and that's a nice kill, but not huge because he didn't have res available. But it looks like, pretty standard creation here. Normally when they start getting momentum, Artia just gets bigger and bigger in terms of impact, and he has been, and the soldier's not great in this position. You're quite easy to get hit by a McCree as compared to the area where he was defending before because the elevation was so high. So to defend now,
Unko's gonna die here again. That's 2 kills.
I don't understand. We heard a Deadeye being channeled in that main courtyard outside this power plant. Unko Guardian Angels across from one ledge to the other, after he's already heard the sound cue of a Deadeye being used, no less. So he knew it was up. I don't really understand why he chose that time to go. It's so vulnerable like that.
Yeah, the Deadeye coming in though, this time at R tier, and they won't really have an opportunity to pick up any kills from this since they should all ideally be behind that shield. And here's the push coming through the flashback, and the Earth Shot on the combo landing perfectly, and this is going to be a big wipe. The revive, it's coming through, and now Rogue have a second chance.
Okay, I'm going to jump straight down, but Bromas there has got his ulti working, and it is working over time. You can see another Earth Shatter coming down there, and IDQD not able to do enough there for his side to make things happen. The attacking team, they get the res, they're going to push towards this point, and they're going to almost make it. Yes, the boop was perfect onto was a Diva, but still a Tracer sneaks on towards the point. He might go down pretty darn quickly. We actually saw the Death Blossom happen, and it's going to be the 6th map go in favor of Creation Esports. It was a bit of an underwhelming attacking side there from Rogue, but this series is going all the way.
Yeah, Rogue, in my opinion, messed up the final point. You saw how useful a soldier is on the final point when you get high ground, especially if you can get position and push through. Bromas was a big factor here, and there was actually the shot, and you saw, unfortunately it wasn't a headshot. It did like 100 and something damage, but had AKM being able to pick up that kill, they could have continued to hold the first point and even won the game. So that was challenging for both teams to finish, really, in my opinion. Apart from the final point for the team of Creation, both teams are now feeling like, okay, when we are playing good and they are also playing good, this is a big match. And the lineups that they both brought to the table were a lot more even in terms of composition. So we should be on for a really great match if they've learned a little bit about each other over the first few games.
You were maybe a little bit critical earlier, James, about seeing that Reaper in the church phase, obviously because you don't really have the ability to control high ground. Sure, he can teleport up there, but they see you teleport and they just kill you straight away. Why did that work?
The team actually dropped, I think, a little bit too early. They could have used Tavik's advantage a little bit more on that high ground position. They felt like they really needed to drop. I don't feel that they had to. In fact, they probably could have actually backed off a little bit and played from a distance. You know when you have that short ramp area, just to the left here where we're watching AKM, you could actually play really far back with your soldier. And there's been tactics that the team IDDQ did where they actually played 4 soldiers, and you just do a huge amount of damage. But I felt they dropped a little bit early and they got caught out by Artia, and he's always a factor for his team. You can never counter RTR just winning you fight just because of how good he is on McCree.
And we have to give credit to Linkser as well on the defending side when they actually held up Rogue on that final point because he was constantly going for the flanking snipes, picked up quite a few kills time and time again. Yeah, Rogue did finish, but he dragged it out for at least a couple minutes almost by himself.
So here's a couple of clips as well. That was Twig coming down. I think he gets charged.
Yeah, he gets charged here, which is unlucky because it was a 3-on-2 fight, and I believe he was there with Lucio. And if he was able to get the kill on Lucio, that would have been a 2-on-2 fight, and there was a Reinhardt who wouldn't have been able to do much for you. So they could have held it. I actually think Tivik jumping down at that angle as well, he didn't need to jump down to continue hitting the Lucio, but he felt like he wanted to kill the DPS player more on the right-hand side. But, you know, in the moment, you make decisions.
Yeah, yeah.
It happens. You lose finals.
You have to deal with them too. And that means now we're going to a final map here. It's going to be on Numbani. And we will have Rogue defending first here. And I know you've talked quite a bit, actually, about compositions when it comes to this map. Do you think we're going to see these double soldiers actually stick around? I was going to say, they're not going to go the double soldier, double tracer thing again, are they?
Yeah, they might do.
On defense?
Yeah, because what you're looking to play is you're looking to win the fight, and then you heal up on the soldiers. They're actually now going to put Tivik on the Lucio. Maybe they're just speeding people out, which would be weird. Yeah, they are speeding people out. No, it's not weird because there is actually a Symmetra. I'm crazy. But if they go back and they change, Tivik might play the sniper, and IDDQD, who are we waiting? Wins, he might end up playing a soldier. Yeah. So you've got 2 soldiers, you've got 2 tracers, which means you should be able to nullify Lynx. Lynx actually isn't that safe as a sniper from any position, because even if you get high ground, the tracers can actually bolt across the high ground either side in the center room.
Right.
So if you actually defend here, this is really nice. The biggest problem that they have on defense is if the enemy team actually walk up here. What are you going to block this room with? You cannot spam it. You know, the damage that you output is not great. So you want them to kind of attack from various angles and you start flanking them. If it works and they can kill Linksaw and they get the first hold, they don't earn much off it apart from a teleporter, which might be enough. So I think this is incredibly risky from Rogue. I would favor Creation getting this first point, but if they surprise them, which is part of the tactic, I guess, yeah, it might work out because it depends how close they get to ultimates if they first point defend first time. This is very risky for a final game in a 3-3 and it's best of 4, first to 4.
Well, Unko trying to go fairly deep there and trying to find that Mercy, but not quite enough initially, but then eventually does get the extra damage. Drakius goes down, and we even saw Creation push from the top side like you kind of feared, I guess, if you're talking from Rogue's perspective, but that huge pick there, getting a couple important kills off towards the side. They're really shutting down that attack.
Yeah. Wins actually chased down, I think, Lynx. Unko, what an absolute legend. This guy plays Mercy as a main, and he's like, no, I'll just pick up a Tracer in the grand finals. It's fine. It's the last map. It's 3-3. You know, we win this, we go on. And they get it. And already we've got 90% now on Reinforce playing the Symmetra, so there might be a teleporter down. Lynx, although, does pick up a kill onto Wins, and RTO is going to follow. IDDQ down does take down Lynx, and they're playing for point now. I think point is a lot safer for them to play on. But Tivik's still doing work.
Yeah, they got teleport down out of Reinforce as well to help out. Tivik does have his Infrasight up when he wants to use it, and just going to be Wins head-to-head against Bromas here, and winning out almost on this battle alone. He's going to be up against the Biotic Field healing. Both of them just going to back away from each other for now, while IKM on the top side is still just going ham.
This defense is working. No healer defense.
Blizzard, please.
The Tracers can run off and they can pick up packs, but Tivik has picked up so many kills in these fights because everyone's turning their backs. They don't. They do have a
teleporter. That's put a lot of faith in no one coming in that direction.
Reinforce is drunk. I think they were all on the point when he put it down.
Okay.
So that they were on the point and he was like, they won't be here and I need to drop it to get my team back in. But Lynx has picked up 2 kills now already, and this feels pretty bad. Let's see what AKM can do with his ultimate.
It's going to be ready to go here as well. Bearing in mind, of course, Numlock can completely mitigate that now as Bromas jumps on towards the points, wants to try and start this one off. And now, with the attacking team spread over 2 levels, AKM feels fit to go forward with that ultimate, gets himself 2, and a good helping on that 3rd one as well. And that is pretty much just going to stop that attack in its tracks. And this is Creation now, maybe just having to come up with something new, something different. Bromas does make the switch.
That was a smart play, too, because I think AKM realized, well, you know, Numlock's up top with the the Reinhardt's will not drop down on top one where they have no defense.
Reinhardt's definitely not working versus the Tracers. Monkeys don't necessarily work either, but there isn't a Lucio to help out Tivik on defense, and there is an aggressive sound barrier, offensive sound barrier. RTA is going to pick up Tivik, so this is their chance to get the point.
These two Tracers as well, they came straight back in from behind just to try and get the flank on and get it working. Unco going deep there as well on his recall, but IDDQD able to still get the job done. Lynx has struggled to establish himself so far this game, but now at least he's up on that balcony, got 2 kills as well with both AKM and IDDQD falling, and this might be what they needed to take this point.
Yeah, but pretty good first point defense. Very strange composition that they used, but you could see what it was doing. But of course, if you lose one at the start of the fight, you get incredibly weak. I'm glad they switched off the Reinhardt because it really wasn't offering anything. It wasn't like you were blocking any spam to get on the point, and the Monkeys definitely helping out there. So they are going to have to switch on the offensive side, the attacking side, sorry. So Lynx are going to be still on the Sniper, Bromas on the Soldier, and Numlock back onto the Reinhardt.
Same for Reinforce. He actually just suicided with Symmetra just to go back to the Reinhardt because they know it's going to be more of a classic battle in the streets of Numbani. And Tivik is still doing a lot of work here on his Widowmaker, able to get the better of Lynx for the most part, and he's looking for that kill on a Bromas, but AKM's going to be able to help out. He gets no, he misses the flashbang, but it doesn't matter. Right click's going to be enough, and he's still just going to be able to help out.
Oh no, Drakus gets taken out.
Noko as well, still charging his one up. So the attacking side just stalling out a little bit there. IDDQD managed to get himself 2 kills, of course, here being switched over towards the McCree at this stage, as was AKM. We saw him earlier on as well with that aggressive push up on the top side here now. So we're going to start to see Creation come back into this one or go back in for another attack. No changes here in terms of composition, so they're going to persist here with Bromas on that Soldier 76.
Soldier's not great on this point unless you have ultimate, by the way, because the damage that you do, unless you've already got momentum, not having momentum makes Soldier a little bit weak because there's so many places that the McCrees can flank, get a flashbang and just take you out. So going aggressive is normally, I would say, in the defensive team's favor. And in comes a defensive. They'll continue to do so, but Reinforce is still there, and that res should be good to put Creation on track.
Depends what kind of damage Vic can do from the distance here as well. He actually opts to back away, knowing that a few of his teammates are dead. So Bromas able to forge forward. You can see he's just trying to establish a bit more of a forward position as well, just in case we were going to see Tivik lingering for too long. And now just some damage, just some intimidation. He now has the tactical visor ready to roll as well. Interesting enough, we actually saw super aggressively pushed Numlock, got himself in this room. He's ready to let rip for a big ulti combo.
One thing Creation's been doing really well too is the whole combo, the flashbang with the Earthshatter together. Really been able to catch Rogue off guard, but will Reinforce check is the real question.
No, I don't think they know. Here it comes.
Oh no.
There it is, it's going to be a 3-man knockdown. That's nasty as well. Bromas and RT are going to be able to capitalize on that as well. The man himself actually has that tactical visor from earlier. This is going to force the res, but still, there's going to be more pain coming in from it. Rogue really dishing some serious damage with Bromas able to get in position and capitalize. It's going to be nasty stuff here. A res came in. We actually saw Rogue just kill 2 waves there of Creation quite easily. Or the other way around, sorry, Creation got both waves.
He's going to switch, yeah. It's just leaving that switch side up.
Yeah, switching just to 1 monkey is fine. You have some ultimates available on your McCrees, so if you can defend now, this is huge going into the final map. But whether or not they can, yet to be seen. As Lynx goes on a 1v1, and actually, I'm not sure when he got taken out. He finally gets taken out by AKM, and it looks like Reinforce just holding the cart for the moment. Unco seems pretty safe behind him, so even if they get the kill, Unco is very close to his ultimate, and he will get it. There is going to be the attacking team res, and then defensive as well, and it looks like Rogue Esports are going to stabilize, and that defense is huge. Already on the first, they're actually screaming Unco in the booth now, just because of the res that they were able to bring in, even though it didn't feel personally that special, but the fact that they got it off and they were able to stabilize, and they knew there was no sound barrier because it was used before. So this is dangerous for Creation Esports. You've lost momentum.
He would be taking down Bromas as well. That's not a really good sign. Sound barrier comes out for the defensive side though, buying some more space.
You can see Tivik, respecting the enemy team, expecting Creation. Since they have their full lineup, they're already prepared to attack him. He's going to need to be healed back up. And with about 2 minutes and 57 seconds left to go here, Rogue are looking to hold on as long as they possibly can. We do have the revive for Drakeus though, as well as Unco. So we're going to see definitely a prolonged fight. It comes down to Numlocked. Can he get a good ultimate off, a good Earthshatter to really open things?
going to try for this one anyway. Does get AKM up towards the side, tries to spin and get the stun grenade, but it doesn't quite work out. He's still healthy though as well, so we can continue to fight this one. The right click's not really producing much for him right now, and Reinforce actually laid down the Earth Shatter. RTR getting belted around their headbox, and he's going to fall. Reinforce managed to isolate RTR, or at least RTR isolated himself away from the rest of his team, and they got wrecked by the Earth Shatter.
Yeah, and also not only just the Earth Shatter, Tivik really nicely identifying who was a threat, and it wasn't the McCree that was out of position, it was the supports and, you know, giving some assisted damage and needed damage to that Reinhardt. So great decision making from Tivik, and they're just playing so aggressive. Now they do have a sound barrier on Creation Esports, they are going to use it, they have a res available, but yeah, this aggression's working really, really nicely, and they're just going to run away from Bromas's ultimate. He will get the 1 kill. They're looking to get more, but unfortunately doesn't get Unco because he ends up reloading during his ultimate, and the res will come in, and that's going to bring up Tivik. Tivik has 70% ultimate on his scientist, and that will just help him keep the car. He's going to build some ultimate off here, and now if he's going to have Primal Rage pretty soon for the next fight, that's a pretty big deal, especially since the McCrees are not a 100% ultimate at the moment. So Tivik can still play his very aggressive style. Maybe this is a little bit too aggressive. I'm not sure if it was completely necessary to use it there. He seems pretty excited, in all fairness.
It was a really risky reload at Unco as well.
It was risky, but I mean, sure, he's buying a tiny bit of time, but he's actually fed an ultimate available to Lynx.
No, I mean for Unco to go for that revive, because Tivik was like nowhere really to be seen for his team, but he gets the revive on it too. The fight's going to break off the backs. Linkster does get AKM down, but there's the defensive revive coming back through, and Rogue are being so aggressive. They don't want to fight in their own home base, and Linkster gets caught up with a flash kick. AKM going in the middle of them. He gets 1. He's looking for 2. Eventually, he'll just buy enough time, and now Bromas is forced all the way back practically towards his spawn, but the rest of his team is now on the respawn, and so is he.
We actually saw a lot of casualties there on the side of Rogue, but it didn't matter because the winning players, i.e. the creation players that survived that fight, were so far back. Reinforced there as well. He's just compounding problems. He takes down Numlocked with the charge, and yes, this payload is contested, not rolling back. That's kind of Nox's aim here as well. He actually gets the better of him, but this is bought time as well for the rest of Rogue to get in and hold this point. 25 seconds remain. This will be the last push available here, and a failure to complete this payload stage for Creation Esports will be devastating to them as well. In a final like this is the last game. This is their last chance. This is their last push.
And they've got a soldier, so of course they're not going to do it. Sorry. But
well, let's see if they have an opportunity to. Maybe we'll see a mistake out of Rogue as Bromas already taken out about 50 HP, getting healed up. We did have Unco go for that defensive revive just to get this full team back alive again. But now we're into overtime. This is that final push that we have to see them come out with. The respawns, well, they won't really be there too much, but Bromas gets ahead of the actual payload, catching out quite a few.
Yeah, he's actually going to be able to do some work here, but it might be a little bit tricky to catch on towards wins at this stage, and now he's going to monkey in his face to deal with. Plenty of headshots coming out, and now, of course, the biotic field's going to come down. He's close to yet another tactical visor, and Linkster now has made the switch back over towards Genji. He's going to try and deal with the peripheral action, and even from behind, Artia comes in, helps him out dealing with IDDQD, and this payload is still in motion.
Rashada comes in, connects onto quite a few, but Reinforce is quickly going to fall right after using that ultimate, and now some more Deadeyes being used, this time out of RTR, who's going to connect onto at least one. I'm not sure if he caught a Reinforce on that one. Unco going down, no revive potentially being thrown anywhere, and this is just a bloodfest. Both teams just trying to hold each other back.
I think the defensive team might have actually fallen here. IDDQD, at least, is still up on his feet, but for how long really remains to be seen. He's actually way off in the background, getting rid of Lynx, but now he has to contest this. This payload's rolling very, very close here. Someone has to stop it, and he does just get onto it in the last second, but it's a sound barrier being used for the attacking side here. You can see them trying to press forward and pick off towards the side as well, doing his job. Reinforce a rare appearance on that Tracer to try and drag this one out. He needs that ulti to come up, but the sound barrier, as you said, for the defensive side, very crucial here.
And to allow the Tracers to be more effective in this fight too, considering they have a lot of extra HP to work with, and there's just Tracers aplenty. There's 3 of them currently on the side of Rogue, as we're still in overtime here, and they're starting to pick up a couple of kills, but there's Tracers on both sides. You see double Lucio, triple Tracer on for Creation Esports, trying to keep this one alive. Lynx are able to pick up quite a few kills. That postpone coming up in just a few seconds.
So he's going to be able to use that as well if someone gets close enough, and it does actually work. Vic gets blown out of the map, and this payload's still being contested though. AKM tries to get on towards the point. He doesn't hang on for long enough though, and it almost gets home, but Win skates on towards the point. Unco's knocked away, and it's still not enough for the payload to get across, but finally, oh my lord, Creation get it across the line, but that is not a flattering time on the attacking side by any stretch.
Not pretty at all, but at least they completed. Like, that's, I guess, a big goal for them, considering how bad it looked from a good portion of that map after they finally did get that first point. And I think this is a time that Rogue can be happy about. I mean, this is plus 10 minutes. This is like 10:40, if not actually 11 minutes.
And I have to give a little bit of credit to Bromas there. I actually thought the Soldier was going to be pretty useless in the final push. And then he ended up staying alive, killing everybody, getting ulti, and just, being a massive factor. But really, I did feel like when you're fighting in that uphill scenario and you've got a Soldier and you're not doing something, smart or sneaky with him, you might as well have that Zarya. Or even, if you wanted to, you could maybe bring in a Reaper. No one was really defending top, but it's not a bad thing to have a Reaper actually drop down and instantly get a kill on support or someone else. So I felt they got pretty lucky to actually finish that map. And the main reason was Artia got some fantastic kills on that final push, and Bromas was left alone, and he got himself in much better positions time and time again after getting the kill initially on the tank. So pretty lucky to finish the map, and it was pretty slow. So if you're Rogue Esports, you're literally like, don't choke. Don't choke. This map is horrible. It's the map that we always play the last because it's not that fun of a map sometimes, and it's really the first point. If they get the first point straight away, Creation Esports are going to be sweating.
I mean, to be fair to Creation, Rogue should be honestly really happy with a time like this, considering Numlock, remember he got in that small room with his Reinhardt, caught like 3 or 4 out with the Earth Shatter, and that actually could have been enough to eventually finish the game. They got held like right near the end. That could have been like a 5, 6, 7 minute payload time. But now they got an extra 3, 4 minutes, even 5 minutes to work with here. And like you said, it comes down to that first point, and we already see some interesting picks. The Genji, the Pharah, double Winston, a Mercy, and a Lucio.
It's the jump at you. I mean, they're not looking, they're not expecting, I would guess, I think they kind of predict their lineups quite well. So they're just like, okay, this room's pretty horrible. We want to jump at people. They probably might be expecting Lynx to play Widow, but Lynx is actually on the Genji. So this might actually go really bad depending on how much damage the RTR can put out with his McCree, because he's a huge factor here. But also Bromas is the other big factor who should be staying pretty far away. If Bromas survives, if they don't jump on Bromas and he gets a lot of damage off, they'll probably defend. If they jump on Bromas and he dies, that's fantastic, because it will mean that the Pharah doesn't have to worry about the Soldier. So it's really depending on where the Winstons want to jump and how this fight starts off. And they're definitely not as coordinated as some, I would say. I think it's Cloud9 that play Winstons. They seem fantastic. But they're probably going to jump towards the Soldier, I guess, up to the top right.
All the Rogue needed to do here is actually finish the map. 11 minutes and 44 was the time that was set, and that's all that stands between Rogue and victory here as well at the takeover. Now the big fight starts over on towards the point. You're going to be pushing aggressively, and IDDQD actually playing Genji, interestingly enough. For probably the first time we've seen them on that one all weekend. Tvik gets completely slapped back down, and the defensive team, right now it's a 2-for-3 fight. So they are holding. There's a couple monkeys still left on the point, but a minimal amount of damage to back them up here with Bromas up top side, getting the damage done. They should be able to hang on here.
Yeah. They didn't challenge Bromas at all. He lost 10 health during that fight. He was actually boosted. He's now up to 53% of his ulti. The Genji as well is really good versus a Pharah. So Pharah didn't have great targets. Personally, I would take the Pharah out of commission for this attack and try something else, maybe with the Widow. And they had to working towards their ulti on Mercy. He's at 70%, but they have it already on the defensive side with Drakis playing for Creation.
Numlock even playing decently well defensive, just trying to keep Bromas alive, even trying to focus down IDDQD on that Genji. And will eventually pick up the kill, but so far the kills have gone the way of Rogue.
That's huge.
Unko actually has ultimate available, and with Zacchaeus now down, they should have the advantageous position to take this point finally.
This is far too fast here for Creation's liking. We do see Rogue getting super aggressive, and now the sound barrier going to be on them. It's going to help this point take so much more. Genji being used there as well. I think Lynx is trying to get himself involved, but it's a little bit too late here. He's been pushed away from the point. Tvik gets 3 kills. The man is going off, and that point is secure. The payload is in motion.
Yeah. Monkey, get ulti, make stuff happen. Not really much more you can say about that. I mean, there's a timer sometimes when it comes to the Winstons on attack. It's just like that ulti just buys you so much time, and you're such a big threat. But actually getting the kill onto Drakius was the big thing. That slap stopped him from getting the res and really won on the point. So now we have a 9.5 minute hold. This is what they have to do.
It's definitely going to be a big feat if they can pull this off.
It's going to be incredible if they can actually win this. And Tvik has gone over to the Widowmaker, which I really like on offense. Bromas still wanting to stay on his Soldier, and Lynx is actually going to pick up the Reaper. But how many monkeys do they have? Looks like 0. So I'm not sure
after they get the kills with this Reaper, what it's going to be able to offer. But so far, it's been working out quite nicely.
Yeah, he's not being focused down at all. He's getting some free reign. He's getting some free charge as ultimate on top of that. He does eventually take wins with him, but Tvik has not really been dealt with in this backside by Reaper, by anyone at all. I heard that Earthshatter trying to come in out of Reinforce, I believe that was, but he was taken down before that happened, which eventually is going to favor him too, considering they've lost their majority of the team.
This is the scary thing. Actually, them just moving back has allowed the sniper to get into position. The reason that the Reaper was working so well was they were fighting aggressively at the corner. They've all backed off. And they don't have anything really to counter Tivik on his Widow. This could be devastating for Creation on defense. I mean, they're going to go aggressive, but we can go back to Tivik. You can actually just watch him. I mean, Bromas as well does have ultimate available, but Tivik's already picked up 1 kill. Sure, Bromas has got a few, but Tivik's still alive, and he's got high ground position, and the red comes in. And it's just Linksaw alive. He has ultimate, he drops, and he gets absolutely picked off because there's 2 McCrees. And it's so... I mean, on the middle point, having that sniper just allows you so nicely to get through. And without the sniper being challenged with the Reaper there, it was too easy for Rogue. And now Linksaw's going to switch over to the Genji. That's the counter, but that's a little bit too late. And now you have math in my head.
Just under 8 minutes for them to finish this map. AKM though pulls the dead off on a 3. People, the Earthshatter gets blocked completely. Numlock's gonna go down. And this is Rogue getting full control of this game. The payload is getting ever so close to finish this off. If Rogue can do this in the next 8 minutes, they would have won the takeover.
So just a couple more meters really to get, but they're going to have to deal with yet another wave coming back in. Bromas desperately now going to be switching on towards his Bastion. He knows they have to hold, but with Tvik doing so much work on this Widow, this is a dangerous pick. The man's still going nuts. He's flanking through on the side. Bromas goes down already. Not much he really could have done there as well. He's going to challenge on towards Drakius. He drops as well. The defensive team are just falling like flies out of the sky, and it will be Rogue. We're going to get over the line in just a second. There is a Winston challenging on that point, but they get it done, and the winners of the takeover are Rogue. It's been a tough day, a bit of an upset against Creation, but they come back from the lower brackets